still on side, ride me, baby. I ain't never gonna stop. Come on now, baby. Ride me straight to the top. Yeah, straight to the top. You can give a clip if you want, if that helps.
Yeah.
Do you think?
All right, there we go. I don't know.
Okay.
We're not experts.
Yeah.
So, we're not experts.
I guess this is the beginning then. We'll get to this real quick and then get back to talking about what we were talking about. Number four, Bad Ideas, Good Stories podcast. I'm Dusty, that's Pat.
I'm Pat, that's Shawn.
And this is Shawn. This is Mr. Shawn Cuthand.
Shawn's
So good to have you today, Shawn.
Yeah, Shawn's quieter than us, so we're gonna have to like drag him out of his shell.
Yeah, we're trying to get stuff set so like you guys aren't gonna constantly be assaulted, but we're still figuring it out. So let's just do our best. But yeah, so this is podcast number 4. This is our first guest appearance, and I'm super excited about it, honestly, because there was a short list of people right at the start that were like, well, who do we want to have on that's from around Saskatoon that would be interesting, and you were definitely like one of the ones I wanted to talk to.
That I don't mind in my house.
That
aren't gonna rob me.
Yeah, to be fair. Yeah. No, that's funny and absolutely appropriate. No, and for a couple different reasons, I'll just do my shit right now, and then we'll let you talk about your talk, because so Pat and I both know you from back in the day at shows. Promoting shows, a lot of hardcore shows, punk rock shows, a lot of shows down at La Relais. Good times. Yeah. Many parking lot beers were had on behalf of me. And from what I know, I want a big catch up here if I'm missing out on anything, but you're doing stand-up comedy now, which is very exciting to me. I really want to hear about that and kind of what's going on in Saskatoon with that, because it kind of seems to me like every time I hear about it, it's like it's a bigger thing and there's more places doing it. So yeah, that's the kind of shit I want to hear about.
I want to talk about hardcore, Shawn's an Indigenous guy. I like to talk about racial issues a lot.
For anyone only listening,
Yeah. Well, and I think it's an important topic to talk about, and if I can get him on that, I don't want to push him into no quarter. He's wearing a shirt that says Indigenous. Indigenous tattoo, so I think we're allowed to talk about Indigenous people in Canada. That's just me. And I'm going to do my best not to try and talk over him, because I know he's a more gentle talking person.
I feel a little attacked by that.
Yeah.
When you look at me and you're like, I'm going to. Yeah. What I mean is, we're going to.
So you said you don't drink pop and booze anymore, or?
Yeah. I've just I had like really bad acid reflux problems and like a stomach ulcer, and it was caused definitely by like abusing alcohol and
that'll do it.
Yeah, and then I just I had to go to the hospital. I was there for like a week almost, and then after that I cut the booze out, and then a couple months later I just started drinking water, and ever since then it's been like 3 years now. I've been drinking nothing but water.
Really? You notice a difference lifestyle wise? Like weight?
Oh yeah, like I just feel way more better and just
how eloquent.
Yeah, I just like that's all.
Much way more better. Absolutely.
No, I just like it's just I don't know. Like I don't need coffee or anything to get me going, and I lost like 50 pounds.
Holy shit! Yeah, I a while ago I woke up in the morning one day and I had like a splitting headache, and my girlfriend reminded me I hadn't had coffee in a day or two, right? So I'm like, well, fuck, if this is what happens because I don't get my caffeine fix in the morning, fuck it, I'm going to win. And I just stopped drinking coffee. Yeah. Then after a while, I went back to decaf, and now I look at it as a tool. In the event that I really need to wake up and I can't do a rail because I don't do drugs anymore, which previously I'd be like, I need to wake me up. But now a cup of coffee pretty much does it. If I have a Coca-Cola or something in the evening, Christ, I'm up till like 4 a.m. So, yeah.
Good time to get in your knitting, though.
Yeah, I get my knitting on. I'm usually on the internet talking shit.
Just trolling around.
Yeah, exactly.
3 a.m. troll session.
Let me tell you something about my opinions on things. Yeah.
Oh, man. I can picture that meme, actually. It's like world exists. Pat just actively shaking fist.
Fist in air. Yeah.
I love it, though.
Fucking grass.
Yeah, exactly.
Growing too slow, growing too fast, too green, not green enough.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen greener, but I don't know when.
So I met you doing hardcore shows, I think, right? Like, or no, when do we first meet?
Probably at shows, and then I came to get tattooed. But yeah.
What got you into promoting? Or how'd you get into it?
There was just a gap right when like a couple promoters moved to the big cities, and then I was just like super immersed into it, and like I noticed like there wasn't gonna be any shows unless someone stepped up, and I just like dived in head first.
So did you just start calling up bands and saying, hey, you want a gig in Saskatoon, or did you find venues first? Like for somebody in, let's say, a small town that wants to start putting on shows for themselves, this would be perfect, you know?
Yeah, well, at first there was like, luckily I got to do like one of the last shows at the basement, and then we were using Le Relais or the Cosmos Senior Center for shows, and yeah, it was just like, I just asked advice of the promoters that were leaving, and just kind of like phoned up the venues and started making moves.
But would you because you booked some pretty, like, I guess, notable hardcore acts, didn't you? Like, what were some of the bigger names that you booked coming through?
Well, I got like This Is Hell and Suicide Silence, Protest the Hero, like Crucified came through here.
So you just call up the management company or the bands themselves, or how do you contact them?
You would like, sometimes like back in the day, like on their MySpace, they would have their booking agent's email.
What is this MySpace?
Yeah, like MySpace was like so awesome back in the day, but yeah, I'll just turn this off.
Oh, turn it up. Let's hear what's going on.
Yeah, put your phone on speakerphone.
Make a few phone calls. Actually, you got some grievances you want to air? By all means, let's have some differences.
No,
Yeah,
you,
we're
Tina.
This is all your fault.
Yeah.
So yeah, you put on these shows, and didn't you do a festival or two?
I did like just like I like would book like huge shows and call it like Shoverload, where there'd be like 10 to 12 bands in one day. And it just, yeah, it was like pretty intense.
Like a little mini festival.
Yeah.
Well, I actually, one of the first punk rock shows I ever remember going to was in Nipawin, Saskatchewan, which is a little tiny northeastern town. And it was organized by some guys from Saskatoon that like had some bands and knew like one guy out there. So they did the same sort of thing, just booked a little hall there and then had like 12 or 15 bands play all day. And some dudes had a keg out in the parking lot and they all got arrested. And it was like pretty sweet for a punk rock show, you know? Like people were skateboarding inside the hall. I was like, what?
Yeah, it's like organized chaos without looting.
Yeah.
Anyways, so
yeah, it was funny. Like the first show that I did, I booked the Acacia Strain and Too Pure to Die on their day off, and it was just like I emailed their booking agent and was like, hey, like what if I get a show on this Sunday for the band? And then like the show, like it was the first one I did, and I just thought like, oh, the Acacia Strain, like everyone's gonna come, and I think there was maybe like 30 people there.
I love that, eh?
And like
It's gonna be a great gig. You guys gotta play. You got so
and
many
then,
people
like,
are into you.
The funniest thing too was like the band was just it was more the sound guy, that their tech and whatever, they were like guilting me, being like, this was our day off, like we were supposed to be at West Edmonton Mall today. Like I just ruined their holiday. Like
Could have been water sliding instead of here with you hillbillies.
Instead of these like 3 kids spin kicking.
Come on.
I played a show like that once. I wish I could remember the name of the fucking band. It's gonna come to me, but they were basically like kind of a Misfits Light sort of band, like a horror punk band from like Chicago, and they were cool as shit. Like they were you know, pretty much the Misfits, you know. And there was a dude from around here who was just really really into them, and he liked my band as well. So he he rented the Odeon, which is a big event center. Paid to fly them up and like put them up overnight for one stop to come up here and do it, and then was like, and you guys are gonna open, and I'm like, cool. You bringing anybody else, bud? You know, like, because the two of us, like, okay, you know, at the Odeon, you know, and I'm like, you know, on a decent evening, you know, if people are really excited, I might be able to scrounge 40 or 50 people to come out and see my band.
Yeah,
maybe,
$5.
You know
Come
what
on,
I mean?
come on.
Yeah, these are my friends, family
you.
members I've conned. You know what I mean? And that place, like, we played there one time. I don't toot my own horn here. Played there one time with Lagwagon, and it was 800 people in there. And I'm like, that's how many people are for a venue this size.
Well, that's what fills it up. That's
Well,
also
dude, we ended up playing that, and like, I don't know if they had some sort of deal if they kept the lights on. It was cheaper because it kept most of the lights in the building on. It was like doing it in a fucking gymnasium in high school. Like there was legitimately
The
35
cafeteria.
fucking people along the front of the stage, and that was it. And I remember just like looking at, I think they put in a good show, and I'm just like mouthing like, I'm sorry, to these guys. Like you couldn't have known, but they got fucking paid, so they were like, well, whatever. And the dude was out of ton of money. But he seemed cool there too, honestly, because I mean he had a really good time, and it was like one of his favorite. Fuck, I wish I remember the name of that band. But anyways, yeah, a horror punk band from Chicago, if I remember correctly.
Well, I remember when, what was it? We were talking about the Soul Train Ninjas in the hardcore scene.
Oh yeah.
I don't know when like slam dancing morphed into, throwing down, and then when throwing down morphed into like spin kicking and kung fu kata, and then me and my brother called it the Soul Train Ninjas, because all of a sudden the breakdown part of a hardcore band would start, and the crowd would disperse, and these guys would go out and do their move, and then they'd stand off, and they'd be all like, yo, you go now, and then the next guy would come in and spin down, and I remember this band Intifada played. They were from Winnipeg hardcore, and Winnipeg always had like a bigger hardcore scene. They weren't a punk scene, but the hardcore scene was really big. And there was this little Asian chick, and she's like maybe 4'10", maybe. And we were sitting there, and people are kind of moshing this band, and all of a sudden she just starts spin kicking in a line up and down, and people are getting hit, and they're like, "What the fuck's with the little rager here?" She's just like punching and stuff. But that was hardcore dancing. That was hardcore moshing versus slam dancing, or the moshing, the pile-ons that we were used to in sing-alongs, which was kind of an evolution. And I saw a lot of that in the gigs that you put down, like the pseudo macho stuff with guys that weigh 120 pounds,
You know what though? Never seen any fights outside those shows.
I see pit beefs there.
Outside them though.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember ever once being at one of those shows and like standing in the parking lot watching somebody fight, or in the alley. Plenty of other shows though. I feel like everything's cool inside, and then they get outside, and all of a sudden there's beef, and people are smashing bottles and fucking at Walkers. The one time somebody came down and had a shotgun they pulled, like that lived up there because they were always beefing with people that were out on the street.
That sounds about right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good times.
Yeah, I remember one time me and my buddy Cheney got in like a brawl with like mechanical separation. Because like I don't know what.
Well, if you have to pick a band,
yeah, we were like
Tisdale and Curtis.
We were like moshing, and I don't know what happened. They said, or we hurt one of their buddies, and then all of a sudden like chairs were being thrown in the pit, and then like afterwards outside the show, like this guy comes up to him and he's like, "You hurt my buddy in the pit," and then he slapped him across the face, and then all of a sudden this big brawl broke out, and it was just like
pit beef.
Yeah.
Well, and you enjoy professional wrestling.
Yeah.
So I feel like if chairs were thrown into the mix, you'd be like, "This is my time to shine."
Through the table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just stunnering people left, right, and center.
I remember one time I was at a show. I was helping Colin run Leps for a little while there, and I was like, when he couldn't make it, I'd be like kind of watching the fort, and I was sitting there on my phone in the corner because I wasn't really digging the band playing. There's probably maybe 30-40 people on the floor, and all of a sudden, literally like a big fucking metal chair comes flying by me and hits the wall, and I stand up and I start bugging out. I push my way through the crowd on the stage. I'm like, "Who threw the fucking chair? Who threw the fucking chair?" And everybody's like, "Ugh." They point at the singer of the band. And I'm like, "Well, I can't throw this guy out. He's in the middle of his set." And I'm just like, "Don't do it again."
Yeah, that's
I'm gonna give him the mic back. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? He's like a raging, fucking edgy performance art guy. I'm so angry, and I'm gonna throw furniture. And then little fucking badger gets on stage and starts yelling at people.
Yeah. Start singing their favorite song. Like, "Who threw the chair?" They're like, "Who threw the chair? Who threw the chair?"
Yeah,
That makes sense.
Fucking gigs, man. Crazy, crazy gigs. I remember there used to be a skate park here called Rampage, and that was one of the first, like, kind of Lord of the Rings punk rock show I ever went to. And I like Lord of the Rings where the kids are ruling the roost. There's no like real grown-ups. Oh yeah, that's in Lord of the Rings. Yeah, we walk forever for nothing.
It was that type of show. There was 2 breakfasts, a lot of hairy feet.
We walk, go home. So yeah, Lord of the Flies, where all the kids are ruling the roost, and like the only real rule is don't fuck around, or you're gonna have to deal with these other guys that rented it that are only in their 20s maybe. And somebody punched a hole in the bathroom wall, and I remember going into the bathroom, and they're all yelling at this guy in a circle, and he grabs him by the hair and just starts kneeing him in the face. He's like, "That's what you get the fuck out." And I was like, "Oh, okay, punk rock."
This is fuck around, find out.
That is it, fuck around,
That's
find out.
That's it in the flash right there.
Yeah, but otherwise, everybody seemed to get along. Like, there was always that edge, like, where, hey, we're all buddies. There's about 100 of us. And we kind of know what the rules are. You can mosh, but you don't like hit too hard. And there's that thin line when you're slam dancing, like what is too much? An accidental bang into and hey man, are you okay? Cool, we're all in this together is one thing. But the one goon that's just going off is sooner or later going to get gone off on, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was like when I had like a string of shows that I did at the Cosmos Senior Center where they were like big bands that were playing like legit venues with like security and everything, and then they come to my show and it's just like I'm just relying on everyone to be good, and like
they can taste the crowd.
Yeah, like we had like I had
close.
like my group of friends like watching over everything, but like there were some times like we took a big risk, like with like especially like the Suicide Silence show was like probably the biggest one, and like there was just my buddies like standing around like the soundboard to make sure the mosh pit didn't like take it out, and like
it cost you tens of thousands.
Yeah, and like it's just like holy cow, like there was it was funny like I did the Protest the Hero show, and the way it was set up, like it was a Friday night, but Friday at the Senior Center is also like their crib day. Their day to play crib.
The big crib
so like
coming up. Yeah.
It ends at like 2:30 and they'll be gone at like 3. So I was like, okay, like we can load in after 3, even if we have to like go through the side doors. And I explained it to like this tour manager and everything, but he's like working for Protest the Hero, who's like big at the time, and they're going to these,
doing festivals.
They're doing like big
and not
venues.
Shawn Fest 09, but legit festivals.
And then like he pulls up to the Senior Center, and he calls me, and they got there before I got there, so I couldn't explain to him, and he just calls me. He's like, "Have you ever done a show before, man?" I'm just like, "What? Like, I've done lots of shows, man. Just trust me." And there's like, I get there and like get the crib tournament out, and then it's like, okay, let's
old
load
people
in.
gotta get the fuck out of here. You ain't gotta go home, but you gotta get out
You
of
guys
here.
with my paying cover, by all means, you can stick around.
Yeah, and like the
$10
old-
is $10.
The old guy was like, I said you couldn't load in until after we were done. These guys were just like walking around the venue, like scoping it out and just like looking like assholes, pretty much.
Throat tattoos and shit. Like, watch out, grandma.
Yeah.
Fuck out of my way.
Unreal. I love it.
Carry my cabinet.
And like that's and not to like speak to your skills as a promoter, but as that manager, like that's a legitimate question when you're on the road. Like you're like, okay, but like for real, have you done this before? Because I get this shit all the time. Like, I remember we went on like a little tour the one time, and we ended up getting booked. Like one of the first stops was this place in fucking Brandon. And I'm like, we're driving around, and I'm pulling up. I'm like, oh, so we're stopping for lunch at this place before we go to the venue. And buddy's like, no, it's the venue. I'm like, no, there's a pizza shop, man. This isn't the venue. We walk in, there's no stage, there's no nothing. Like, we're at the right spot. He's like, oh yeah, totally. Just 6 o'clock. We're just gonna move a bunch of these chairs out. And it'll be fine. And I'm like we planned for this. Like, I get if this is an accident. You know what I mean? Like, oh, last case, I didn't know what else I could do, and here we are stuck like this.
This is the address you had the whole time.
Yeah, exactly. Exact planning the whole time to have to move the fucking pizza shit out of the way.
Well, I had like this one show, Origin and Vital Remains at Amigos.
I remember that.
And they like showed up when it's restaurant, and then they're like, "What the fuck is this?" And then when he was on stage too, he's like, "Come on, we're playing at a fucking Applebee's. Let's do this." It's just like,
hey, well, and like one of the legit, like most well-known, like rock and roll kind of bars in Canada, right?
Yeah.
Amigos
Yes.
Canteen, and that's where you go and play, right?
Yeah.
And it's like if you don't know though, you get there in the daytime, you're like, where the fuck am I?
I'm in a cafeteria.
I'm gonna
with a
eat
steak.
because the food's amazing. I'm
Yeah.
definitely gonna eat, but where am I? Well, it's funny because actually the first 3 years I was in Saskatoon, I only went to Amigos for shows, and then somebody's like, "Hey, we should go grab some lunch." I'm like, "Where do you want to go?" They're like, "Amigos." I'm like, "That shit ain't open yet." And they're like, "No, it's like a restaurant." What? So I go in there and like the skylights are all open, that window's open that's in the back that's always closed when we have shows, and I'm like, this fucking place a transformer? Like this isn't the same bar, is it?
A little bit.
Yeah.
You know, I've been to some shows, like I've seen some pretty amazing shows there. Nashville Pussy, Cool Keith, the hip hop show was there, you know, like a bunch of really good ones. And it's funny, some of them, they haul like all the chairs and the tables to an entirely different room, and sometimes they just push them aside. And those ones where they're just like, depending on how good your band is.
Sorry, I don't want to take some of the blame for that, but a lot of times it was like...
Oh, you were working
me or Duke working,
Fucker.
you know what I mean? You guys want to give a hand with this? Yeah, sure. Hey, just push them off to the side. That's enough room for this fucking band. Don't worry about it. You're not going to need to take these tables out.
Any touring band, you can tell how much they think you're good by how few tables they leave. They move out of the venue. We'll move up 3-4 tables.
Yeah, no, I've definitely played to a sea of empty tables and chairs before. Hey,
Yeah, well.
You get there and they're like, "Yeah, don't worry about it, boys. Yeah, we'll make a dance floor if we need one."
But Reverend Horton Heat playing there, Jesus, that place packs. You know?
Oh, it's a very one of my favorite places to see shows. Always a fun time. See shows when we could do that.
I got like this one
We could.
Pre-pandy.
funny story from like when I did like that string of shows at the Cosmos Senior Center. They were like some big band shows like a couple months apart, and then I did the Shadows Fall show, and like that one I thought like I'm pushing it, having Shadows Fall play the Senior Center, you know, and like I knew I was pushing it, like like they showed up and their tour bus was like from
They have a bus.
They had an old bus from the 70s that was way too big to park anywhere on 11th Street, you know, and they're like calling me and they're like, where can we park? And like eventually it just ended up taking up the whole like parking lot, and I had to send my one buddy out on a mission to find like a special light for the tour bus driver. For
That's
like,
nice of you.
yeah.
Because that's a you problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. You need to fix our bus, buddy.
Yeah.
You're the promoter.
And then like yeah, that was like one of those nights where like I was like super partied out, like I was like super worried like the place was gonna get trashed, and then like I paid out the bands and everything was good, like the bands all left and we were cleaning up, and I go downstairs to the bathroom and like I'm washing my face, and I remember I just was like looking at the mirror and I was like thinking like, oh, like right on, we did it. And then like right at that moment I just hear this psh, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I just like go up and like two like jockey dudes from like the Hose and Hydrant,
Just like small guys that ride horses.
no, like just like like just two jocks, like they look like they had just like finished like their like rowing lessons or something, you know, and they like
Couple coxswains.
yeah, they came
Yeah.
to see what was going on,
Coxswain.
and
Roadie,
then
it's a real word.
and then they just started roughhousing, and
Oh.
they ended up busting a window.
Cool.
So then like after like
Yeah.
to have like
Good luck trying to fucking be like,
I
no, it
know.
wasn't me. It was the rowers.
I
These
know,
two
and then-
jockeys stopped by and got into a bit of a tiff.
and I had like a couple like big friends with me at the time, and but I just like I was just like I was just seeing red at that point, and I just like I remember I grabbed the one guy, I was like, what the fuck? I was just like shaking him, and then my friends got like in between and they're like, leave him alone, man, he said he'll pay for it, and they're like holding me back, and then I just like rip my shoe off and just whip it at them.
Take the shoe.
Yeah, it's just like, they like pulled me into like the main hall, and I was just like let me at them.
Raging.
And like they're like yeah, we got info from them, but they never paid for nothing. They gave us just like a bogus number.
Yeah, thanks for your visa right now.
Yeah.
Well, if you're listening, you know who you are.
We know who you
Do
are.
the right thing.
Yeah, but it was so funny. Like after too, like we were like driving, like after we were driving, and my girlfriend at the time, it was just like all calm or going home, and she just like, I can't believe he threw you a shoe. just like.
That's when you had a calm girlfriend? Anyways, yeah. Miss you, Courtney.
Shots fired.
That was Courtney, actually.
Oh, well, she was calm at that time.
Yeah. Well, she was the voice of reason at that moment.
At that moment,
yeah.
It's funny, that poster right there, the Blitzcore gig, is at a venue called The Times, and the guy that used to run The Times, a guy named Dave, I won't say his last name, and there's more than a couple times that I heard about bands showing up and they were promised a guarantee for coming to Saskatoon and playing in the basement that used to be a Taekwondo dojo, and just a little tiny stage, you know, maybe 2 feet up with like shitty monitor speakers, and these guys were promised a guarantee for playing, and apparently like they literally kidnapped him and took him to the bank, and they said, you're getting the money out and you're paying us. Like even if the gig isn't going on, we have a guarantee you're paying us. So yeah, it's a weird game. Like fuck, if you're trying to travel across the country, you know, and you're trying to get gas money at least and food to feed your guys from one end of the country to the other, and you show up in, I don't know, the urban metropolis of Saskatoon, this wonderful place where there's fuck all for 5 hours. Yeah. How are we getting out of here, and how are we feeding ourselves?
Yeah. Right? Well, like some of them, like they don't fuck around. Like like fucking, I had this incident with fucking Skeleton Witch, and like, oh man, I hate them ever since. Like I'm just like had this huge grudge, like this hate boner for them. But like
hate boners. I love hate
boners. They're my favorite kind of boners.
I heart hate boners.
Yeah,
title of this episode. I heart hate boners.
Yeah, I was like, I think it was like over like $80, and they like cornered me in the back of Amigos, and they like. I was like in the booth and I couldn't like stand up, and they were like all around me just shouting at me, and like the financials got fucked up because like this one band wanted like their guarantee was different, and it wasn't in the contract that I had with Skeleton Witch, and then like it got all fucked up, and they were like, you owe us like $80 more, and I was like, well, that's coming out of like my end, you know, like, and then like, you know, like I get something from this, and like
not anymore,
yeah,
bro.
and then they were just like, fuck,
you get
$80
$80 less.
I'm like, where's my percentage? And like we're trying to work out my percentage, and then the guy was just like, get me my fucking money, and he like smashed this glass, and it's just like, and he's just like carrying all his like leather like trinkets in like a little like carrying case, and it's just like spazzing like a kid. It was just like, holy cow.
I want my $2.
Yeah, then, like,
where's my chicken fingers?
like I didn't want to like pull out money I had on me, like
it just jack you.
Yeah, and then it ended up like my friend, she ended up like taking out like $80 and giving it
took her money.
Yeah, and then like I gave her the money when they were gone. But it was just like it was like, holy fuck. Like,
honey, I need you to go to your bank. Yeah. I don't know, man. Yeah.
But then you have like other bands where they see like the total loss that you took doing the show, and they'll like cut you at like a couple hundred just to save you something.
Well, you think any reasonable person would.
You know, and that's what keeps them coming back. You know, if it fails this time, and the next time the promoter who does it can't afford to have you, well, maybe that's just not a city you get to stop in. Even if you made fans last time, and there's going to be twice as many people, that dude can't do it anymore because he didn't make any money the last time.
Right.
You know,
when I put on shows, you know, it's funny. I hear all this like feedback that like, oh, you don't do enough for the community, or you're this, you're that, and I'm like, fuck, you don't even know how many gigs I put on just for the sake of giving this city a show. You know, I paid for the venue, paid the sound man, paid the bands, and that was it. Like, there was no money to be made. Everything, and all the money that came in, I just told the guys, hey man, this is the split, this is the percentage split at the door. I'm going to give you this percent, this percent, this percent, depending on the draw of the bands. I didn't make shit. It was exclusively for doing a gig for somebody else, you know? And there was a couple venues. Animal Farm was one venue, and that was a collective of people. And it was interesting, actually, when Animal Farm started up, there was some hardcore kids that were involved. There was like punk rock, like crusty charged punk rock guys. There was that college kind of like lagwagon pop punk crowd. And there was a bunch of these guys that played in bands that got together. I think there was like 12 of us or something that got together and said, hey, we're going to do a venue together. You know, I got sound equipment. I can work the door. I can do this. I can do advertising. So we all got together and we did this big mural, and it was where Walker's was, and it was Animal Farm. And but then it turned out real quick to be just like the book Animal Farm. Like the people at the very top kind of had their own set of rules. And I remember, I think it was either a bunch of fucking goofs or ripcords were playing. And the venue itself was empty. So everybody that paid the $5-10 to get in to see this band from Toronto were waiting for the band to start. And there was like maybe 15 people out there. You go back into the green room area where the bands are hanging out. There's 30 or 40 of like the members and the organizers and their girlfriends and their girlfriends' friends and the opening bands all having beers. It's an all ages venue, no alcohol, but they see fucking 5 people walking by with a case of beer into the back room. So I go in the back. I'm like, what the fuck's with you people? There's an entire empty venue out there of paying people waiting for the fucking gig to start. And you're all back here partying. There's like literally close to 30, I guess, people.
Yeah, it's a fun bar if you bring it out front, and it's a fucking weird, exclusive little fucking jerk-off circle you keep in the
crowd.
back.
And they're like, you're an elitist, Pat. I'm like, I'm the fucking elitist because you guys are all back here drinking whenever nobody else up front can. And I'm like, the party's fucking over. Everybody go up front. If you're not in a fucking band, you're not in the green room, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, you're an asshole. I'm like, I'm an asshole? I start grabbing beers and throwing them in the garbage can. This is me being an asshole. And, yeah, my brother's like, settle down, Pat, settle down. Yeah, of course. And then I wonder why I don't have friends. You know?
Do you want to?
No, I don't. It's because my circle's
You got
small.
friends.
No. Why people have an impression of me. Yeah. It's not that I'm a condescending prick. Anyways, right? That's not it. Okay.
We were moving on, right? We had other things to talk about. Yeah, actually, you know what? I would like to, if anybody's got anything else to talk about, I'd like to hear about the... I'm gonna fucking say it wrong again. It's not Fireside Follies.
The Fire Pit Funnies.
Yeah. Fire Pit Funnies. I want to hear about that.
I get the Fireside Follies. Every once in a while.
I don't know why. As soon as I thought it, I couldn't get it out of my head anymore. Fireside Follies.
Well, that's when we start doing ours. It's similar but different.
Yeah,
right.
And it won't be around the fire pit. It'll be like a dumpster or a car.
Just like cars on fire.
Yeah. Each other.
That's our Fireside Folly. It's a riot.
So it's a one-man show at the end.
So yeah,
sorry, you were saying. You were saying.
Yeah, well, like it's been like over like 2 months since we've even had like an open mic, and so the comedians are just hurting for laughs and hurting for like
attention.
Yeah, just want to perform. And so Dakota Ray Williamson, she set up this thing for the comics. They all, everyone who wanted to be a part of it, just put their name in, and we've all been advertising it, and people call this number to book. And so far we've done 2, I think, official ones, and then we're just like working out details for others.
Have you done it? Have you gone and done it yet?
I did one last Saturday.
So how fucking weird is that? You just go into someone's backyard and laugh at me. Or like, I'm here to make you laugh.
Laugh with me.
Laugh with me. Yes.
Laugh at me. I can make that happen.
Laugh at me.
Yeah, give me 30 seconds and a loose pair of pants. Laugh at me.
Well, I guess like a lot of us, we're kind of used to it because like we do open mic at Bud's, So like there's
usually a fire going in the background.
There's like just the other comedians and then like some barflies and maybe like 2 other people
that sounds about right.
Actually listening, So it's like you're doing like a private little gig there.
You got a captive audience at least.
Yeah,
that's what they're all there for.
Like everyone's just trying to get the one barfly to laugh, And,
that's the game.
Yeah, and then so yeah, like I've done I went and did like a little mini tour last year with Fabian. I don't know if you guys know Fabian J.
Oh yeah,
I've been doing the open mics at the Black Cat there.
Oh yeah,
like music, not to stand up.
Yeah. Holy fuck, that guy's shit borders between. Well, that's pretty funny, and holy fuck, was that uncomfortable?
Yeah, I know. That's like his style, and like me and him.
You frequently have a dry mouth when you're watching. I was like, I don't know if I like that.
I know I've done drugs in the past, but he's done capital D drugs, and he's dropping fucking how-tos that I have like I don't know what the fuck you're talking about now. Anyways, yes.
Yeah, so like we did like some shows in like Moose Jaw, Assiniboia, and like there was another small town, but like this one we went to like the small town bar, and it was just me, Fabian, and Tim Nutt, who's kind of pretty well known. And there was like the only people in the bar was like these parents with their 2 daughters and a boyfriend. And that was it. That's what we did the show for.
Did you just focus on them hard? That'd have been so fun.
Yeah, it was like
I'd have been like fingering techniques. Let's get a few out here. I know, like you guys.
2 of your fingers are girlfriend.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, right?
Yeah, it was
Let's get to that. Let's make everyone
it was like
comfortable.
funny, like we're like yeah, the two daughters would be the ones laughing and no one else. You know what it is?
That's fucking hilarious.
Because I'll tell you, I forget what gig it was. I went to check it out when I do go out now, and I saw you chatted a little bit. I had no clue you were a fucking comedian. And then you get up on stage and start telling jokes. I'm like, holy fuck, Shawn's funny. And like, well, I knew you were a nice guy, but I didn't know you were funny. So when did you get into doing comedy? When did you decide to do it?
Sorry. I knew you were a nice guy.
I didn't know you were funny.
Fuck, that's funny.
Yeah, it's like I think it was late 2017.
So yeah, a few years
A
ago.
couple years ago, eh?
Yeah.
And how did you get into it? Did you like open mics or?
Yeah, like the Williamson brothers ran like this sweet open mic like every Sunday at the upstairs at the Thirsty Scholar.
Okay.
And it was like such a like inviting and comfortable scene. Like I just like I probably like went as an audience member for like a couple months, and then finally like me and my buddy Danny, we started like meeting up and like smoking weed on his balcony and making jokes, and then we're like, okay, let's make a set, you know. And then he tried it before me. I was still kind of nervous, and then he was like, you got good jokes, man, like if you don't do them, I'm gonna do them.
That's at first. That's it.
Yeah.
We were spitballing.
And
here,
then I was like, fuck
Sit on
that.
your
And I just
fucking
like
hands.
signed up
Yeah.
and tried. And then like
So basically, it was so you weren't robbed.
yeah.
And then forced into it. I just didn't want to lose it.
Use it
Yeah.
or lose it.
It was like super like, oh man, like the first time I tried was like, it was pretty rough, like such a nervous voice and like just scared. And then the second time I tried, I fell off the stage.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, before I grabbed the mic,
Yeah,
I like went like they introduced me. I'm like, hello. And I just like fell off the
Right
stage.
off the beginning?
I just like I was like
funny.
I was like tangled in the mic cord, and then like I get up and like I was sick that night too, and my gimmick was like I'm gonna put this piece of Kleenex over the mic, and then like I was just like shaking, and I'm just like put the piece of Kleenex over the mic, and like I could just feel like mouths wide open in the audience, like they were just quiet, and then I'm like I try to like tell a joke, and then I'm like, well, I'd like to thank that spotlight right now, because if it weren't for that, I'd probably be hiding in the bathroom crying right now. And then everyone started clapping, and
You should play it off like it was just part of it. I do that every time now. Just fall off the stage.
Yeah.
Here comes Shawn.
But
He's gonna
yeah,
fall off the
then I was
fucking
just
stage
like thinking like, fuck, how could that happen to me? Like the worst thing. Like, and then after that, I just thought like, what worse could happen? And I just like jumped.
again. You
in,
could have gone
like,
full Michael Ray.
Yeah.
That'd have been the end of your career. Right?
Yeah.
First night up, you're just like, well, I am canceled. Good evening. And
Maybe you all fall down.
Yeah.
Fuck you too.
Yeah.
Oh, there's
No,
this,
that's hilarious,
Yeah.
man. That's a perfect fucking starting out. Fall off the stage. I love it.
there was this one time too at the Black Cat. They did like punk rock bingo mixed with open mic. And Fabian like set it up, and so there were like people there that didn't give a shit about the comedy.
Oh, I've seen some of those.
And then like so I went up there, and there was like this group of people. They were just like laughing, and they weren't laughing at me, and they were like laughing super loud. And then it just got to the point I just like, hey motherfuckers, I'm the one being fucking funny here. They were just like super awkward, and then I was just like, as I was saying.
You know, that's kind of the thing, though. Like, I don't know. This is just me. If I go to a show to see bands, I'm not expecting to laugh. I'm not expecting a comedian. When a comedian comes out unanticipated, I find it hard to switch gears. When I go to Yuck Yucks and stuff, you go there prepared to laugh. Like, you know you're there, like, this guy's gonna tell jokes, I'm here to laugh, I'm here to have a good time. You go to a show, it's like, rah, 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 oh, switching gears, okay, I'm here to tell you some jokes. So,
Yeah, it's
you
just
know,
like-
that's kind of a weird one, and I
Yeah.
think you might run into a different crowd that aren't prepared to laugh.
Yeah.
You know, when you go to a stand-up comedy thing, I think as a comedian, that would make it a lot easier, where everybody wants to laugh. How hard can it be? You could be as awkward as fuck, and you know, then they're like,
Yeah,
oh, okay,
like-
I'm here to laugh, right?
When you do a Yuck Yuck show, it's like the best, because like you just like finally feel like just like stuff that gets barely reaction at the open mics, and then you throw it in your set and like everyone's laughing at yuck yucks and you're just like yes. Like,
I'm fucking rad.
Yeah. So do you find like you get more value out of that, or like when you kind of get one over on those shitty ones where it's like I didn't get any other laughs, but this fucking thing did.
Well, yeah, like there's been like memorable times like we do this. Me and my buddy Danny started doing this open mic at the Copper Mug on Sunday nights. And that place is just like
I know exactly what you're talking about, but I can laugh. I hadn't been in the mug for years, and I went once this summer. I was like, "Holy fuck!"
It's just like run down, and
it has changed.
And we just set up in the corner, but then there's the pool table and the VLTs. So there's like no one even. I call it like a guerrilla open mic because we just show up unannounced, set up, and then we just leave when we're done. You know, and like we're like the waitress like lets us do it and loves having us there, so we just keep doing it. And then there was this one time
Nobody's kicked us out yet.
yeah, like they've changed like management like a couple times and we still just keep doing it. And
that's funny.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, as long as they don't change wait staff, you know, they're gonna be like, no, these are the guys that are here every fucking Thursday.
Every
Thursday.
And then yeah, like there was this one time there wasn't much people there, and there was like a double date going on of like an older couples, and they were like right like front to where I was performing, and so I start opening the show, and it gets awkward because the guy is like he's kind of like mocking me. He's
oh
like
my god.
He's like yeah like he's like like oh good one, you know, and I'm just like okay, and then finally like I kept like going. Kept sticking at it, and like I won him over. He was laughing by the end of the set, and like at the end of the night they even like tipped into the hat, so it's
that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's a good victory.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, yeah, what's more satisfying than like winning over a disinterested party with your art? Hey, like, when you're like, oh, you don't like this? Okay, I'm gonna do it so fucking good right in your stupid face that you have to enjoy this.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think comedy is a great icebreaker. I remember I was working security in New Year's at Earl's one time, and they had this fucking 4-room party, huge fucking deal, and it was the end of the night, and they had to get everybody out, and there was this big football guy that really didn't want to go at the end of the night. And like there's like 3 or 4 security guys, and it's gonna take 3 or 4 security guys to get this guy out. And I'm like, man, you know the party's over. You gotta go home. You don't gotta go home. You just gotta get out of here. And he's like, oh fuck you, you fucking f-bomb this, f-bomb that. I'm like, yeah, man, I chugged so much cock. You still gotta go though. And he starts laughing, and he's like, okay. And that changed his mood. You know, he wasn't ready to fight everybody. Then he starts laughing, and you're like, I know everybody wants to party. You can't do it. You gotta go. And yeah, you can use it to change people's attitudes. You know. I'm same thing with this whole political narrative, right? Because I'm gonna get political. I always get political. Guys like Jimmy Fallon, you know, guys like Stephen Colbert, using comedy as like protest comedy as commentary on social justice and on political issues. Nobody's coming to arrest the comedian. You know what I mean? And I think that it's a good thing.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That use any kind of art, right? That's what it should. It should reflect society, and that should be a safe place to do that. And that comes back like to our freedom of speech talk, like 3 podcasts ago. We were kind of getting into that. It does get to be a gray area when people try to pass it off as like the truth. But when you're doing it obviously with a comedic angle, to me that's the same as singing a song about it. You know, the intention is to make somebody laugh, and if they think okay, whatever, but it's not like to change their mind. You know what I mean?
We were that conversation started off about people wanting to ban black metal bands for what they perceived as being racist, which is art, which is what are these? What am I looking at here?
Oh yeah, this is based off like the first joke that I like wrote, and like I was like super stoked to perform, and like it was totally like political too. Like I was just like I don't know. It's funny. Like I got like inspired when I just saw like. For construction, they were draining some ponds to build like one of the overpasses, and I just like happened to be driving by, and I literally saw like a family of ducks waddling alongside the road, looking at their pond being drained, and like it just like
it resonated a little bit.
It like
fucking gentrification.
Just got me, man.
Ducks, eh?
And I just like was like holy shit, and I started writing this bit. Like I even like pulled over and started jotting it down on my phone, and I was like holy shit, and like it was like one of the first it was like my first closer, and it's just like, it's like this joke where like, you're just talking about like, you know, everyone's protesting everything nowadays. Why didn't anyone stick up for these ducks? You know, their pond just got drained, and it's like, the chance could be so easy, you know? You could be like, ducks fly together, and so do we.
Well, yeah, but why are you only picking ducks? How about cranes?
Yeah,
what's
but
your
like-
problem? You don't like pelicans, you piece of shit? Hey, that's where that conversation goes though, right?
Yeah. And then like, but then all of a sudden, like, I turn it around into like, all of a sudden the ducks are like going through like the indigenous like situation. Like, where,
they
like,
become a
Is that
character
what
for
we're
you.
calling it? The indigenous situation?
I don't know.
Jesus
I just
Christ.
like brain farted.
Colonialism?
Right there. Yeah.
No, man. that's-
I was just like,
Accurate.
yeah, I just try to like think of something cooler
Yeah. Well,
to
kind
say.
of like they're kind of personifying the experience, right? Like,
Yeah. So like, yeah,
I dig that. Yeah.
the way the ducks are, it's like, so like, I put myself in the position of like, what must be these ducks be thinking? And the one is like, he's like, damn it, you know, we raised generations of ducks here. Like, what are we gonna do? And like the mother duck's trying to reassure it, and then like this optimist duck is like, well, you know, maybe we don't have to rebuild. You know, maybe we can move over there where there's some man-made lakes. And then the father duck just gets pissed off, and he's like, well, then they win, Gary. You know, like first they displace us, then they destroy our homeland.
Yeah.
What's next? They'll take our feathers, pluck.
Yeah.
I'm just like
there's,
screwing up right now.
there's a residential flock joke. in
Yeah,
there,
I
too,
know,
right?
it's just like-
residential flocks next.
No, it's like they'll
Got a great setup.
They'll take our ducklings, pluck their feathers, and teach them English. It'll never quack an end. And
Yeah,
then, like,
Never quacking in.
yeah, and then like that's
Shit,
just
yeah.
where like it's so trippy. Like sometimes like audiences will cheer at that,
Good.
and other times audience will be like, ooh.
But
But it's like
Noticeable
Well, you know what?
Yeah.
though? I almost think the oohs are better in that situation because those are probably people who've never seen that perspective. Then, right? They've never thought of it that way. They're like, oh, fuck, I never thought of that. Like they're not finding it funny, but it's an epiphany for them. Whereas anybody else who's experienced that is like, yeah, that's what the fuck I'm talking about. Yeah.
I can't believe I just like totally butchered my like one of my like first jokes like that. But like
I think it was funny no matter what happened. I'm hoping you're gonna fall off this table
Yeah.
yet somehow.
Like,
tangled up in this fucking extension.
but yeah,
cord.
like it's funny like I performed that joke in PA on New Year's Eve, and like PA is kind of like, you know, they got bad history with residential schools, and like when I did that joke, they didn't like it at all.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, they were like, ooh.
well, tough titties.
yeah.
Like, what the
And then
fuck?
like
Yeah.
I've done it.
Fine. Those are the crowds to do it for, I guess.
Yeah.
Go and fucking read something.
And then I've done it like at like conferences, and I see like elders in the front row being like, yeah, you know. So
This guy fucking
Well,
gets it.
there needs to be more commentary, in my opinion, on all the truth and reconciliation shit, on the indigenous, you know, what do we call it, situation?
yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, you know,
More finger quotes from that.
on the indigenous situation, on
That's
colonialism.
my new thing. I'm gonna trademark that right now.
Well, I was buddies with a band, Breach of Trust, you know, and they talked a lot about, well, literally the name, Breach of Trust, you know, about colonialism and residential schools and all that shit. And I think comedy is a great one because it's an icebreaker. Same thing with one of my favorite guys. I know some people love him, some people don't, Dave Chappelle. He addresses real issues in the form of comedy, and I think that's fucking rad. You know, it makes
Well,
people laugh and have
I
conversations.
think like there's a lot of like different like trauma and stuff that people, if you've been through it and you found the humor in it, other people that have had those experiences, you'd be like, holy fuck, I love laughing about this because all I ever do is cry about it or be upset about it, and now I get a chance to laugh. But it's tough because with the cancel culture we have, if you don't legitimately have ties to what that
To a
is,
community.
you know what I mean? Like that you start talking about it, well then all of a sudden it's like, well, it's not a valid opinion and you shouldn't be talking about
Yeah,
it.
you've been
right?
silent
Whereas like
because you're not part of it.
No, people from the suburbs can absolutely talk about fucking residential schools as long as they're talking. You know what I mean? Like if you're talking, you're bringing it to light and you're admitting it exists. That's great because there's a lot of people that won't even do that. You know, so
I think
fucking,
there's a
yeah,
profound
tell jokes.
ignorance in our culture. Like when I hear about truth and reconciliation, I think we're still working on truth. A lot of like settler,
no shit.
yeah,
right?
settler people don't even know what the fuck happened to the indigenous people in Canada at all.
Yeah.
Like they don't even understand how the why were they on the reserves? Why were you taken and put in residential?
And a lot of times, the knee jerk to that is, well, what about what they did to the Irish, or what about what they did to the Ukrainians? Like, no, absolutely fucking valid, absolutely valid. But saying that wrong was done to your ancestors, so it's fine that it was done to somebody else because I was hurt too, so they were hurt, so fine, whatever. That's like the opposite approach you're supposed to have. It's like if you grow up as a child of abuse, then when you get older, you're like, well, no, it was done to me, so it's fine to do. It's like, no, it was done to you, so you should know that's what you're not supposed to fucking do.
Well, if I lived in Ireland, I'd probably be concerned about Irish solidarity. I live in Canada, and I see the problems in Canada.
No, sorry, I'm saying like they're talking the same thing with immigrants that happen here. Like, I mean,
no.
No. Actually, Irish immigrants were treated quite poorly as slaves when they were brought to America. Like, they were second-class citizens, and I'm not saying it was the same degree. I'm just saying that's, and I'm not trying to say it's the same thing. I'm saying that's what people who want to make that argument say, and there is some validity to it, even though it's not the same weight. But then they hide behind that by saying, well, it was done to them, so it's fine. It's like, well, no, that should just be another example of why you don't fucking do this to other groups. Not going, well, it happened to mine, so it's okay.
I just read last night that there used to be a Ukrainian concentration camp outside Saskatoon.
Fucking, that's what I'm saying. Like shit like that. The Japanese. You know what I mean? Like this sort of thing has happened to all sorts of marginalized groups. And then to say that it was because I'm part of that marginalized group, so it's not a big deal when it happens to another one, is ridiculous. That should reinforce you not having it happen.
That being said, the indigenous people in Canada, I don't think had the same opportunities to bounce back as the Ukrainian community or as the intern Japanese community. And there's been a systematic, I got your back, bro. But no, there's been a systematic thing that I don't think a lot of those people are keeping into context when they're like, well,
that's exactly what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying though. But it's discrediting a whole thing because you've got this one argument. Well, mine's kind of like that, so I don't have to listen to the rest of it. I don't have to know how you were systematically abused. I know that one of my ancestors sort of was like this once, so it's kind of the same thing. And why I'm fine and you're not, what the fuck's wrong with you? And that's the wrong mentality is what I'm saying. Is it's like when you have this shared abuse, you should fucking go like, no, we should all not do this to each other.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Well, if you really have it. If you have a shared abuse and you're not just pulling some obscure fact out of history.
And that's what I'm saying. If you're going to use it for that thing, well, then at the same time, be honest with it, and then...
Because there's a certain ability to assimilate with a dominant society. Like me being able to put on a suit and you can't see my tattoos. I just look like any Joe White guy and I'll probably get respect like any Joe White guy. I walk into a store with a tank top looking like I really do and I'm going to get respected like a subclass citizen. Now, somebody who's doesn't have the opportunity to look like a dominant member of society when they put on a suit is always going to have that hurdle to overcome. And I think a lot of those people forget about that.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Right. They don't understand that there's they're not created equal. You know what I mean? There's already
we should talk over Shawn.
Let's explain the Brown experience a little more to Shawn while he sits here and takes this relentlessly.
Sorry, I'm more of a listener.
So do you think comedy should be offensive? Challenging?
Well, I don't think the intent should be to offend. I think if you're doing anything with just the intent to just offend,
Andrew Dice Clay.
But you know what? If it's social commentary that you're trying to point out by doing that, by going like, no, you think this is just funny? I'm a piece of shit misogynist. Hey, but no, really, this is fucking garbage. I'm a garbage human being. Hey, you know what I mean? Like that's fine. That's funny. But if it's just to do harm. Well, then I don't care. I don't care if it's a painting. I don't care if it's written word. I don't care if it's music. If it's just to do harm, well, then why bother? What's the fucking point? If you're trying to make a point, you're trying to say something. Okay, I might not agree with it. I might not think it's funny. I might not enjoy it. That's fine. But if it's just to hurt someone else, well, no, I don't.
I think that anybody would go to that. I don't think there are that many people that would go.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why comedy exists, because no one does that. Yes, that's what I'm saying. With comedy, you almost can't. If you want to make somebody laugh, that's the whole point. No matter how you get there, if somebody laughs, it could be a tasteless joke, it could be garbage, but somebody laughed, somebody thought it was funny, and then that's who it was for. Anybody else who doesn't appreciate it or doesn't like it, I don't give a fuck about the Mona Lisa, then don't look at it. That kind of stuff is like, no, it's not for you. Okay, fine. There might be a different joke a person has that is for you, but if not, whatever, then don't fucking listen to them, right? Like that's as basic as it is. And I think that if the point is to make you laugh, it doesn't matter how shitty it is. I don't have to agree with it. I don't have to like it. I don't have to go to your fucking shows. But you're trying to make somebody laugh and you did it in a shitty way. Okay, you did it in a shitty way.
I think that we also are living in a culture where people are eager to be offended. They're waiting for the opportunity to have their feelings hurt so they can have their opinion, as opposed to just saying their opinion. They're eager And they're waiting for any little hiccup a person can say that, like, that offended me and I don't like you now because you offended my ego boundaries. And I don't necessarily think that's valid. Maybe we need to examine our ego boundaries as opposed to examining the people we think are offensive.
Looking for offense, yeah.
You know, I could sit here and, like, all the jokes about race that Dave Chappelle made. You know what I mean? Oh, I find that offensive when you dress up as a white guy. No, I don't. Because he's got a valid reason for saying this shit. It's some social commentary.
That's the point.
Well, even if it wasn't, he's got valid reason. People are saying online all the time.
Well, it kind of is, though. Like, if he was doing it to spread hate, okay, I don't agree with that. That was never his point. It was to put a mirror up. It was to make people laugh. I don't think any of it was coming from a place of hate.
Well, I think it's coming from a place of frustration.
Totally.
And
that's fine.
I've been having a lot of conversations online the last few days about these riots, you know, because riots are happening all across the USA is on a fire. And a lot of these people are saying, well, it's a legitimate manifestation of frustration from people in a frustrating experience. And I'm like, to a degree, I agree. You know, you burn police cars, get out there and, like, protest the police, you know, even going after the police stations. These are all symbols of authority that have oppressed you. Cool. But when you start going into neighborhoods and attacking people, or you're robbing stores of, like, mom and pop businesses that have spent their life just trying to get a niche in this society, I think that's taking a step further. And it goes back to what you were saying, when it's coming from a place of anger and hatred versus a place of protest or legitimacy.
I totally agree with that. And actually, I wanted to talk about this a little bit. Killer Mike, I've been a big fan of Run the Jewels lately, and Killer Mike had a great speech today on the news in Atlanta. And again, it was of a similar vein, where the clip that was taken from his speech was him saying, you know, we shouldn't burn down our own houses. But the continuation of that was, we should fortify them. We should strengthen our own communities in this time. We should figure out, and basically getting to the point of, I mean, because this is going to get real conspiratorially, but I mean, the videos are up. It's not people of these communities starting these fires. It is people coming in to instigate in many instances, and then this is what they want to happen. They're trying to instigate it. And he's saying, look, if militias can come into my neighborhood and act like they're patrolling it, even though they're not from my neighborhood, well, then my neighborhood maybe should have its own militia because it's our right as well,
I agree with that,
no matter whether we're brown or white.
Now,
and I think also that changes the dynamic where
I have videos
of
straight up looters that are not Caucasian guys dressed in black, smashing the shit out of stores, beating the shit out of a female, like, store owner's wife, dragging her out and smashing her in the face. Like, these guys are not instigating white supremacists out on the street. Yep. These are actually just furious individuals that hit the street and are looking to take anger out on whatever they run into.
So the only problem with that, though, is those guys are there after the instigation. If the instigation isn't there, maybe they're not there. If the police officer...
You mean the accelerators?
If the accelerators aren't there, if the police officer dressed all in black with the black umbrella,
there's no proof that he's a police officer.
Gingerly smashing the windows while everybody's going, please stop doing that.
I want to address this for a second. There's all this media going on. It's the white people instigating. They're government infiltrators. It's COINTELPRO. There's no proof right now that these individuals are police, like undercover police agents. There's speculation there is. There's speculation that these people are COINTEL agents that are going in and they're leaving bricks to be picked up, to be thrown. There's speculation that the guy with the umbrella is a cop. There's speculation that these people dressed in black are government agents or extremists with these agendas. You know, that's all speculation, and we can't be putting it forward as these are facts. Like, they're putting pictures of a cop's face saying, we think this is this guy, all through social media it's speculation. It's speculation. So without proof, we're just speculating. But what we can actually see on the ground are opportunists using a bad situation to do horrible, toxic shit. That's what we can see 100%. Like women being pulled out and beat the fuck out of in front of their own store saying, don't rob us. And these hoods fucking hammer the shit out of them. Just like we can see people in black chipping up rocks to throw and to smashing the windows. But we can't say why they're doing it. But I can say it's fucking toxic. That's my angle on it. Because I see a lot of people sloganeering, saying that these riots are some sort of legitimate protest against the system of oppression. Yes, 100%. Riots are a legitimate protest against the system of oppression. Yes, 100%. There is a system of oppression that needs to be protested. Yes, 100%. There's a system of racist brutality that covers North America, I would say. All of that needs to be addressed. Now, how we address it and how we make our tactics are very, very important. And even the Black Lives Matter will say, we're not throwing rocks. Don't throw rocks. And we can't pretend that these are only agent saboteurs that are going in and white guys that are throwing the rocks. Because there are just as many equally toxic people of color that are doing the same shit. You know, we need to own that. We need to own the reality of that. And I think people are doing everything they can to avoid the reality of it.
Well, you know, that's totally fair. My only thing is that while we're figuring this out, there's one side that's disproportionately going to be continually killed by this. So I don't think it's the same playing ground. I don't think opportunistic white supremacists going into neighborhoods to cause shit and burn down grocery stores and burn down drugstores are the same thing as people who live in those communities are going, fuck it, it's on fire, I'm going to go grab what I want and fuck this place. I don't think those are the same thing.
Well, exactly. And they aren't the same thing, because there's some people that have a political agenda and there's some people that are being opportunist criminals. And these people that say that looting is a legitimate form of protest have never been a fucking criminal. Because a criminal knows if you see an opportunity, you take an opportunity, and that's all it is. You're a criminal. I don't know how many of the looters are actually fucking voting or getting involved with feeding the homeless in their communities. Any more than I think that these white supremacists that want to destroy these neighborhoods give a shit about a better world. I think they want segregation. They want to enforce these systems of divisiveness, and they're going to do anything they can to create that divisiveness. Everybody's going in with their own fucking agenda, when the real agenda should be, hey, these people in power are fucking with people without power. How do we address that?
That's the core of it, right?
Yeah.
It's all these people that have no power in this situation fighting amongst themselves, and the people who really do just like fucking going, okay, that's fine. Is the Dow Jones back up yet?
When can we start cashing in on what angles we can do?
It's a real light,
Anyways,
fucking
it was gonna
topic.
happen.
Jesus.
Thanks for coming out.
We cut any of this out, yeah.
Thanks for coming out.
No. Well, honestly, man, like I feel like we kind of did talk over top of you there, but do you have anything you want to add to this? Like, is there anything that was kind of connecting with you? Because we can absolutely fucking just move on and talk about something else. But if you got something you want to say, man, I'd love to anybody hear it. It's a crazy fucking time. We may never see something like this in history again. A pandemic going on, and then the craziness is down there, and all the other shit piled on top of shit. So like,
you gotta be careful with the Bonner drinks because they can pick up on the mic.
Oh yeah.
I know they're fun to play. They are.
Yeah, these
fiddling with the table.
Yeah, well, I don't know. We're just like definitely witnessing something huge going down right now, and it's just hard to decipher what's real and what's not. Like, as you can see these things being shared, but is like this an old news story?
Right?
And you know, like, because like I saw this one thing that was shared that showed that they're deliberately like trying to start race wars. Like the same thing happened in France. Like 4 days later, a cop had his knee on a black guy, but then like I couldn't find nothing else about that. Like, was that picture really 4 days later? And you know,
have you lived in Saskatoon your whole life?
Yeah.
You ever been fucked with by the police for like what you would consider a race reason?
Not like bad, I'd say. I don't know,
like profiled, searched, that shit.
Just like nothing like really like serious, but just like, yeah, I've definitely been like searched or pulled over for no reason. Yeah.
Like I know I have for just being a low life white trash scumbag. 100%. Like my truck is painted black. Boom, we're searching you, or we're checking what you might be up to. I've been pulled over for erratic lane changes. I've been arrested for having headlights out. I've been taking a left hand turn on a yellow. Like all kinds of stuff. I've gotten tickets and harassed, and my car searched left and right. So I've got no love for the police. But I could just imagine if I was a brown guy. And then, because, you know, that's just it. I'm getting harassed because of the way I chose to make myself look, or the people I hung out with, or any of that stuff. Now, if it was just because of the way I was born, I'd be a furious motherfucker. And I'm pretty furious right now. Just imagine.
Picture Black Patch.
I sometimes do. But that's
angry,
just it. Well, and that's one of the things that really clued me into the idea of white privilege. It's like, man, I get treated bad enough for just being white trash. Now, imagine if I was like brown guy, looking the way I was, covered in tattoos, and they wouldn't fucking stop. Yeah. Like I got the option to wear a hoodie and look like just like Joe Citizen, you know, and a lot of people don't have that option.
Yeah. Well, no, I feel like a lot of people feel like there's a disconnect with like, oh, well, it doesn't happen here, and it's not like that, and it's like Starlight Tours, obviously, there's fucking systematic racism all over the goddamn place, and I can personally remember an experience from when I was in high school. We were having a party at the gravel pits outside Carrot River, and the cops had set up a roadblock as we were all leaving, and one of the native guys from the next town over was kind of giving the female cop there a hard time. Well, she didn't like that, so they called in backup, and all of a sudden he's gone. And we all go into town and finish up our night, and the next day, buddy's driving to the gas station he works at, sees some guy walking down the street, and he's like, fuck, that guy got a licking. What the fuck's up? He's like, holy fuck, that's my buddy. So he pulls over. He's like, what the fuck's going on, man? He's like, yeah, they just let me out. Had me handcuffed and just beat the fucking shit out of me.
Oh, yeah.
And this is like 1998 or 1999 in Carrot River.
That was a big thing in the
Vancouver
punk community.
So that's what I'm saying. I was like, it's not
Stanley
removed.
Park and work.
You don't have to go to a big city to see that. This is happening in small communities all over the place because they can get away with it. You know,
especially,
and that's an anecdotal story from me who has almost no experience with this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's very, very valid. You know, I walking home from a rave one night with my girlfriend, 4 a.m. I'm not sure if this has come up on other ones. I think we were talking about with the deleted gun debate. I'm walking home from a rave at 4 a.m. actually with my girlfriend, and I walked accidentally into a crowd of gangbangers. Like straight up, these guys were going to rob us. You know, they had their knives, I had mine. We had a discussion, and I got away. Right. So we get home, we call the police. Holy fuck, these guys are trying to jack us in the alley. You need to come out. They see me, and I'm wearing a tank top now. You know, I'm getting ready. You know, my camo shorts and stuff. They're like, "What gang are you part of?" You know, I'm like, "I'm not part of a gang." Well, you know, got all these tattoos. I'm like, "I'm a tattoo artist." You know, like just because I live downtown and I look like this doesn't mean I'm involved in criminality. Now, I couldn't even imagine living in a world where like that was just by the virtue of how I was born, or the neighborhood I was born, or you know, any of that. So, anyways.
Yeah, one time, I don't know, it's been like small things for me, like I've like, you know, like jaywalked downtown late at night and got carded for that, you know, like just like shit like that, and my white friend with me at the time
Let me see your papers!
Yeah.
Unreal.
So let's say your shirt,
Indigenous, this is a tattoo shop in Toronto.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Toby 6.
Very cool. You do some of your work, or?
I went and got one on my leg from him and
drop him
in August.
That's good, because otherwise you'd be embarrassed by repping it. It's like, no, never did. No, just like the shirt. I'm wearing a tattoo shop shirt. I've never been tattooed by these guys. All right, yeah. I don't know, man. We'll talk about police brutality a little, I guess. I don't know. When I got in trouble resisting arrest in Japan, they didn't hit me at all. They just wrapped me up in a burrito and strapped that thing tight and fucking carried me off like 6 guys. Like, that was it, you know?
There's a way to do it, right? There is the way to do it.
You know, and that's just it. They kind of attack you with shields and hold you in a place, and then they put this thing on top and zip, 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 and like there's no punches, there's no batons, there's no nothing, right? And I think there's probably a methodology that we can teach people to be better cops. You know, whether it's like using language.
I think they are, though. You know what I mean? They are being taught that in many instances, choosing just not to use it.
So what about this? I don't know, you guys. What if these people in authority, positions of authority that we give power over us, if they abuse that authority, that's an extra charge, or that amplifies the sentence as opposed to minimizes the sentence.
If you're a child molester and you're in a position of authority, you're a gym coach, you're a teacher,
clergy,
that carries more weight when they come to it, because they go, not only are you someone who is victimizing someone, you're doing it from a position of authority.
Unless you're in the clergy, because then they just transfer.
Well,
can you imagine if teachers that did that to children? Teachers are in a position of power, they're molesting a kid. Instead of arresting that cop, they just move him to another school district?
Well, that's what they do, though, like with cops, with clergy.
Yes, 100%. And
teachers not so much, though.
Yeah, teachers are accountable, but unfortunately, the guys with the guns and the
badges.
badges...
Now. I bet you give us even a generation earlier, though, it was probably a fair bit of fucking old gym teacher good touch was just bouncing around from one school division to another.
Yeah.
Boys got to put them short shorts on. Need that limberness for...
We had a grade 9 fucking gym coach, and you're scared shitless going into grade 9 because you got a shower with a room full of young men, and this guy would sit there with the fucking towels. All the young men naked in front of him, jump for your towel. You literally have to jump in the air, and he would give you a towel to wipe yourself off.
That dude's a child molester.
Yeah, what the fuck?
That dude's a child molester. Anybody got that as a gym coach? Yeah,
gym coach. He would sit in the locker room and make you jump to get your fucking towels.
No.
Yeah. So I don't understand that shit, man.
Man,
there's only some place you can get away with
my
that.
in high school, my industrial arts teacher, like, I don't know what the hell he was trying to get at, but like I remember, like, I went into class late one time, and he was like, well, what are you late for, huh? Were you hanging out down on 20th? And I was like, what the fuck is that supposed to mean, you know? But then this same teacher got busted for grabbing a hooker.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
she
then-
was asking, like, legitimately.
Like,
Like,
yeah. Got any hookups or what?
Are you on shift now? Are you on duty later?
Yeah, no, and then like,
Unreal.
oh man, but I had like this righteous moment where like I was like walking down the hallway, and it was just me and him, like, after this incident had happened, and he couldn't even look me in the eye, and I
Good.
just like smiled and kept walking.
That's tricks.
Yeah, it's like,
That's tricks, bro. Good, yeah.
It's crazy when you
Things
talk
going
about
on.
shit like that. Hey, like, how many people are like, oh, I got a story like that. Oh, I got a story like that. I'm just like, fuck, really?
yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Well, I don't know. It's a tough one. Like, when it comes to, I don't know, teachers, right? You know, people have needs. They have needs. If they're in a loveless marriage and they're not getting laid, go find somebody to fuck you. You know what I mean? And if you need to pay for it, fucking go pay for it. I don't necessarily think that's a morally objectionable thing.
Yeah.
Fucking a child is a morally
There we go.
objective thing.
I'm glad you got there, Pat.
Yeah,
I was
I don't know where I'm going with that.
Concerned when you started up. Look, we all got needs. I mean,
Oh, just 5-6 days ago. It's 5-6 days ago on Netflix. I have to drop this. Jeffrey Epstein, Filthy Rich, came out. That guy's a motherfucker, but he also has a lot of fucking scumbag friends. You gotta watch Jeffrey Epstein,
Yeah.
Filthy Rich, and they basically run down this guy's social network and what he did. And like, they've got, so he would hook up with, or he hooked up with this chick, and they started recruiting young ladies to come over and give him massages.
children.
Well, no, it's
It was young ladies at the time. Wasn't
yeah,
children
and
yet?
then he
Yeah.
started cruising the high schools and getting younger and younger and younger, and it was a fucking web, like the amount, and then each one would be a recruiter for their friends. Oh, you want to make a few $100? Go over to old Jeff's place and give him a rub and tug, you know, like that kind of ridiculous shit. And I don't want to get into it because I don't like to focus on that stuff, but there's an echelon of wealth that figures that they can get away with whatever the fuck they want. One of his birthdays, one of his scumbag buddies from France ships him 3 12-year-olds that don't even speak English that they use for the party and ship home. Fucking millionaires,
They're
billionaires.
serving drinks and shit, right?
Yeah, that's what they're doing. They're there for the massages, you fucking scumbags. So I don't know.
Well, and
man.
that monster only exists because of other monsters.
Yes, he was an enabler. And well, there's tons of pictures with prominent politicians in him. They're all chummy. We talked about it in other ones. I don't fucking trust those scumbags. So yeah, I don't know. People in the positions of power, when they get caught doing fucking horrible shit, I think should be more accountable, not less accountable. You don't just take away the fucking cop's job and pension. You give him a more severe... You know, you kill a guy when you know you shouldn't do that technique. When like people are screaming, you're sitting on his throat. He can't breathe. Look at him, and you're like, do. Oh, and he's sitting there mocking the guy on the ground. You're not so tough now, eh? You're not so tough. And yeah, you watch the guy die under your knee. You know you killed him. They kind of pack him up, put him away, like, oh, he's just injured. He wasn't injured. He was fucking dead. Yeah. And then they say, well, why are you guys so mad? How many fucking times does this stuff have to happen? You know, before, well, what did they expect before America's on fire, right? Yeah. And I worry about that with the indigenous population, you know? But then there's the other side. My fucking social media is exploding with support of BLM, right? Mm-hmm. And I remember the blockades. I remember MMIW, missing and murdered indigenous women.
Crickets, right?
Fucking crickets. Nobody said a goddamn thing. And with the blockades, all those same people that are like, Black Lives Matter, are just like, boy, I wish they'd take the blockades down. I'm like, what the fuck?
Like, that makes a difference.
Yeah.
That makes a difference.
The fuck does it take? You need these guys to get their hunting rifles and hit the streets? Oh, holy shit. You know, that's just too much. Well, what is too much? You know, you ignoring an entire, I don't like to use the G word, right?
That
Genocide?
guy like pled
Genocide?
not guilty to shooting those 2 hunters.
Oh, I didn't even hear about this.
Yeah, he like pled not guilty. Yeah. And so now that's going to cause a big...
So what was it, like a white guy shooting native hunters, or...?
There were 2 Métis hunters, and he killed them.
He just shot them?
Yeah.
Holy fuck, I didn't even hear about that one. Mm-hmm. Well, what's going to happen?
He pled not guilty.
The Mississippi
there
of
was
the
like
North.
That's it. You know, I get so frustrated with people that are just unwilling to do that self-examination. You know, I try to check myself, you know, and luckily I have some people that'll call me on, friends that'll call me on my shit when they see it, like, hey, that was a dumb thing, Pat. That was a dumb thing. And
what else am I here for?
That might have been dumb. But I appreciate it from friends. Fuck, do I hate it when people I don't know try and do it.
Strangers can go fuck themselves.
Yeah, you
hold
don't
up a mirror to
fucking
me.
know me.
Yeah.
Like-
yeah, you don't know where I came from. No, I know where you came from, but you're still fucked.
Yeah, all right. It's like, oh, you know me from the internet. Yeah, I'm a cocksmack on the internet, and sometimes in real life. But you know, if you know me well enough to fucking say, hey man, you know this makes sense and this doesn't, cool, I'll listen to you. But if you're just some fucking goomba on social media, oh, I'm sorry, you know. I care about you.
That meme you had up the other day was, I feel sorry for you, and
I don't think
about you at all. I'm like, that is correct.
A little bit.
Oh, fuck, that's how we should live our lives.
But it does interrupt my calm space when these people fucking just kind of snipe from the sides, you know, and they want to, let me tell you what I think about that. I'm like, oh, block. And then the next person, yeah, you just block people that disagree with you. Block? Yeah, fuck I do.
In this imaginary fucking internet world, sure.
Yeah, I don't know
you. don't want to have the conversation in real life because it's fucking, it'll last 2 minutes and you'll be embarrassed.
You're some fucking meathead
calm
with
down.
a pink goatee from Florida. I give a fuck about your opinion. You know, you dyeing your goatee pink doesn't make you a fucking revolutionary. You know, like getting out there and doing the work in your community makes you a revolutionary. You know what I mean? Changing your insides makes you a revolutionary. A guy who decides to stop drinking and makes his life better makes him a revolutionary. In my opinion. In my opinion. That's a personal...
you know what? I can't disagree. I can't. You know what? Everybody should quit.
Well, my one buddy, shout out to Blue Pelche. He posted this meme the other day, and I liked it a lot. It's like, unless you change this, and it's a picture of a heart, you'll never change this, and it's a picture of a house, and you will never get to this, it's a picture of the world, right? You have to change what's inside your heart before you can change your fucking house. And you need to change your house before you go out in their neighborhood. If your heart's all fucked up, and your house is all fucked up, and you're out there to trying to fucking riot and protest, you're just going to fuck everything up, right? You need to consolidate it from the inside out. And that's my TED Talk.
More of an Ed Talk.
Oh, yeah, give us stickers. I brought stickers too. These ones, depending on the translation you want to attribute to FTP, these are gifts for you. I've got white and black.
Fun time people.
Fun time people. Feel the penis.
Feel the
penis. That's another one. So yeah, these are for you guys. Thanks for coming. I appreciate that.
Fillet the Papa, I think, is also in the mix.
Fillet the Papa,
You gotta fillet the Papa.
So if you happen to have that on a vehicle and you get pulled over, you can just say it's any of those.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Fillet the Papa.
Yeah. Fairly tough penetration. I like that as well.
Or penis. Fairly tough penis.
go.
Fairly tough.
Yeah. I remember this one time, like, when I was like a teenager and I got busted with like just a 20 bag of weed, and I got like thrown. Yeah, it was weird. Like I think they like, I don't know what happened. It was like a conspiracy, like because we were skipping school and then we got pulled over and then searched and everything, but it was funny because, you know...
Like somebody narked on you because you were skipping school and you got busted?
Yeah.
There's more to this
He's got a 20 chunk on him.
Yeah. So then
nerd.
I ended up like getting thrown in the cop car, and then, you know, like me, just a loudmouth teenager, I was like in the back just like swearing at him like, oh, you think you're dead? They just busted me for 20 bag of weed. I was like, let me go, you know, and I just like talking shit to him.
Deadly.
And then when he got me to the elevator, I was just like, oh shit, here's where I get the beats. You know what I mean? I was like, oh shit. But then luckily he was kind of like laughing at me as in the elevator, and I'm just like, oh damn.
You take that badge off.
Yeah.
Badge of good, fucking Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still a full-grown man underneath that outfit too. And you're like, shit, I'm a boy.
He's still twice my size.
Yeah, God damn it.
You take off that
Turns
badge
out
and
nothing.
You're still a huge motherfucker.
Shit.
Oh yeah, well, you know, that's the thing. The high school lawyer is another one that I get a kick out of when the guy's like, I know my rights. And I'm like, but do ya? Really? Oh, you're going to leave us alone here?
If I don't, it's going to dribble down my leg.
Oh, you guys, you need to... Man, I would hate to take a road trip with you motherfuckers. You know, it's stopping...
For numerous reasons.
Yeah, I'd be stopping and stopping. So I don't know. Where do you think comedy's going? You know, you can make fun of yourself, but nobody else.
I don't know. I'm just like now I'm worried about like man. That's my dad used to like. He used to like yell at us when we peed in the deep part of the bowl. He's like, "You're peeing in the deep part of the bowl."
Hit the edge.
And then, like now all the time, like if I just like hear that in my head every time I hit the deep part of the bowl, I'm just like ah.
So I don't know. Yeah, it's funny. I wonder about that because like some of my favorite comedians are offensive comedians. You know, I really like Jim Jeffries. I like Bill Burr. You know, and these guys are calling shit out.
Anthony Jeselnik.
I'm not familiar. Yeah, I'm gonna.
He's like what, like a dark comedian. Like,
oh, okay.
Yeah. Like well, right now I'm kind of worried about where it's gonna be like performance wise.
Where are you gonna be able to perform?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw like a picture like Yuck Yucks Ottawa was already like up and open, and it looked like they weren't really social distancing.
Everybody has masks and plastic partitions between every table.
And then like the comic strip at West Edmonton Mall tried to open. I think they did like one show, but then they got shut down, and there was like all these regulations, like laughing can like spread the germs more.
So you are part of the problem.
Yeah.
You're else trying to be part of the solution. Sean's over here just fucking spit all over the place,
now,
you
like,
pricks.
we're
I'm gonna come
gonna-
into your backyard and spit all over you.
What we're gonna be like the Blues Brothers, like we'll be like behind a plexiglass like tank telling stand up.
The good old Blues Brothers boys. Yeah.
That's funny. You're talking about doing comedy at Bud's, and you know, Bud's on a crazy night has reminded me of the place in Roadhouse, you know, where they have like the chicken wire across the front there.
Yeah,
it's like doing comedy in that
Fucking
bar.
right.
Fuck you.
And Walker's. I can't remember which iteration this was.
I remember that.
But they had the fucking the chicken wire downstairs when you came in with the cage. They could close off, eh? And it was just like. First off, I love that. I love coming into a venue and you're like, oh, it looks like a dungeon. Beautiful. This is where we're supposed to be. But
oh yeah, that was
like
like
a dungeon and it looks like a venue.
yeah. There's a stage.
was that when like
Sound
Walkers
system?
had like the bar area separated?
What there was kind of a bar near the front and then the bar like on the other side of the stage.
Well, the one on the side of the stage was like that was the 19 plus area, and there was like chicken wired out.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Fuck yeah. Well, and the cages, dancing cages. There was all sorts of barriers in that place for a surprising lack of social barriers. There was a lot of physical barriers.
Did you ever see like the secret room?
Under the stairs?
Yeah.
People under the stairs. Oh man. Is that when you're talking about the closet that used to be a stairwell but it has been boarded up?
Well, there's like where like there was like the sound. Well, there was like a sound room, but it was just full of junk. But then behind there was like another room.
Yeah. That whole place, I don't even want to know the weirdness that goes on. That went on there. Between the people that ran the venues and the people that went to that fucking place,
Shout out Chase Walker,
yeah.
DJ Evil Barbie.
There's lots of interesting stuff happen there.
Yeah, no,
I matched with the old bartender on Tinder. And I was
yeah?
just like, do you
Luba?
remember me? No. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Okay,
man,
for
yeah,
anybody
I
listening,
forgot
if you ever went to Walker's back in the day, I legitimately thought Luba was his hookup, and if you guys know Luba, that is magnificent. What I was picturing right now. Oh my god. That's Walker. That's Chase's mom.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Well, maybe his spiritual mother. He always called her mom and was definitely old enough to be.
You sure it wasn't mommy?
Whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I don't know, man.
I'm not here to judge.
For
I
those
actually
of,
saw
I guess,
her
many
not
people that are
that
going to
long
listen to
ago.
this needed to be there to feel the magic for a lot of this
Jesus
stuff.
fucking
you know.
Christ. Absolutely. Man. Sorry, continue your story because I'm still...
Oh, no,
you have to replace what's playing out in my head right now. Because all I'm going to picture is like you and fucking Luba meeting up down there and then ripping downtown and like getting an ice cream at the Double Decker and fucking cruising past the beds and just having a nice little evening.
No.
No.
Yeah, that was funny.
Then we're done.
There was like, I remember there was one time at Walker's, like, I did so many shows there that, like, you know, me and Chase were kind of like buddy, and then like I remember this one time, I just like lost money on the show and I didn't have it on me, and I just like, I'll get you later, Jason. But I didn't tell him that. I just
Like you
laughed.
thought, I'll get you later.
Yeah, I was like,
That didn't put up, I'll get you later vibes. Yeah.
and then,
You can see the way I walked away. That wasn't I'll get you later.
yeah, and then so yeah, he's like getting a hold of me the next day, and I go to meet him, and I give him the money, and they were just like, he's like, don't do that again.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Don't do that again.
Well, I remember going to raves at Divas one time with they used to do a bunch of raves, and I'm only 5'7", and I was like a skinny little like up all night fucking party raver, and I'm sitting there at the speaker doing my fucking thing, and all of a sudden I felt this like ominous presence behind me, and I kind of looked up, and there's this blonde wig like literally over my head, really close, and it was fucking Chase, and I'm like, oh hey dude.
Yeah. Whoops, my bad.
You're the guy who puts on all the shows, huh? Yeah, right. Yeah, so, yeah. How tall was he, really?
She must have been like 6'7".
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, I think you're exaggerating slightly, but yeah, no, very tall.
with the heels.
Well, okay,
Heels?
that's where we. So Chase Walker maybe 6'3", 6'4". DJ Evil Barbie's got to be pushing 6'7". 6'8".
For people that are not familiar, not from this neighborhood, Chase is just a very, very tall cross-dresser occasionally.
Yeah.
And,
And if you ever get a fucking chance, have a conversation with that guy, because I always enjoyed mine.
yeah.
Always made me laugh. Always had something interesting to say. Excellent taste in music. Fuck.
He didn't.
To the
like,
old
he
days,
never
eh?
liked any of the bands I put.
No, yeah, no, me neither. Frank was like, yeah, that was fine. I'm like, but you should listen to this. I'm like, well, I'll listen to it. Yeah.
You know, it's individuals like that. You gotta fucking give credit because they were doing edgy, non-social or non-socially acceptable shit when it was still fucking challenging.
Yeah,
like
it was like definitely a safe haven for a lot of people.
Yeah,
Like,
Fuck yeah. That was a place where you could just go and be what you want to be.
Yeah,
You wanna be that
Chase
for
can
the
be
evening
the
or the rest of your life,
6'7"
whatever.
cross-dresser. Anybody can be themselves here, and
Fucking
he's
right.
running the show. And that's
Well, and that's the nice thing about little scenes like this, right? Because again, punk rock, hardcore, hip hop doesn't. I don't think it matter what it is, as long as it's sort of underground. If you dig that, you're cool, right? Like, well, I don't know. Well, I'll tell you. So this weekend we're having like kind of a fucking send off for the old Bastards Garage because we were moving out of it, moving into new digs, and it was gonna be the last time we were there. So we're all hanging out in the alley, and everybody's got their bitchin' choppers, and nobody's got shirts on, and we're pounding beers, and these.
sounds like a party.
It was a little bit of a party, mid afternoon. And
Neighbors loving it.
And well, no, these two kids come cruising down the alley on their bikes, and they're little black kids. And the one of them, like I see him go by, and he gets just a wicked like pedal slip, back of the calf slap with the pedal, like shut me down. I'm not going to pedal my bike for a bit. And he's seriously hurt, and I can see like it happened like right as they're going by us. These kids are terrified. They don't want to stop. They're just like, I don't want to be anywhere near these skinheads, you know?
Yeah,
so they
a
keep
bunch
kind of
of
pushing their
tattooed
bikes
white
down
guys.
the alley, and he's trying to fix his bike, and I can see him kind of like sniffling, and like my leg hurts. And I'm like, fuck, I know exactly what happened. Like as soon as I seen it happen, I'm like, oh, your chain jumped off in the front. It's all jammed up. I can tell from here. I can fix it in 2 seconds.
And you hurt yourself.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, I'll just go over there and do this. So I go over there, you know, introduce myself, fucking, hey, we're cool. I'll fix your bike real quick. Show them how to do it. Get them going. High five. See you later. And everybody else is like, fuck, dude, I didn't believe you knew how to do that. First off, you know what I mean?
What,
like,
talk to people?
It's like, well, fix a bike just like that on the fly, like by hearing it. You know what I mean?
Well, these guys, like, you're in a garage with chopper builders. How did you do that bicycle fix?
Well, no, to be fair, I think they just thought I didn't know. You know what I mean? Like they're like, well, no, anybody could, but we didn't think you had.
Yeah,
the
that's me
capability
for
of
sure.
that.
Yeah, we don't know. I didn't know
Yeah.
you knew how to do
I have
that.
no idea where I was going with the start of that story because I can't remember talking about to begin with. But anyways, maybe kind of feel nice to do something for fucking somebody sometime. But like, people didn't do that shit for me. I always fixed my own bikes when I was a kid, you know? And I couldn't just picture like being a scared kid being like, I feel like these guys might
By a
hate
bunch
crime
of
me. You know what I
Tattooed
mean?
bikers,
Like,
half-naked tattooed
fuck,
bikers in
yeah.
an alley. Well, and that's the interesting thing about that. Like, I think, well, that was a residential area. You guys were renting a garage and doing your work, and like,
Yeah.
I've been there when people were like, check it out, it's going.
Oh my God. That was that afternoon.
Holy fuck.
There was a few burnouts and pantsless fucking beer shotgunned on the roof of the garage.
See, and that's the thing. Your neighbors are probably not going to miss your ass.
Not for a minute.
So
That urine smell they're not going to miss.
yeah, right. We don't have
Had my
running
last,
water or
had
a
my last
bathroom.
alley piss. That's the last. Well, that particular alley. I'm not done pissing in alleys. I'm just saying that one's done.
So something like that makes sense in an industrial area where you're not really
Yeah.
fucking with anybody.
Hey, it's
and,
what
like,
we're
you
gonna
know,
do, something
and
like
that makes sense. Yeah, that kind of intercultural thing where people are intimidated. You know,
Well, try to fucking engage every once in a while in a positive way. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
well-
just be a... And
Oh,
again,
man.
I would have done it for any kid. It just happened that they were black, and I thought that was kind of interesting because I'm like, well, that's not a dynamic that happens all the time, you know?
Well, and that's kind of the thing. I wrote this down today that I like to go out of my way to, break the stereotypes about tattooed white guys by being the stereotype of a tattooed white guy. That's what I really like to do. Is like, go out there and, throw shit and be racist. And, that's how I break the stereotype of who people think I am. Yeah, no, that's the best way to doing it. It's just like...
Slight amount of sarcasm on behalf of Pat.
Oh, no, okay, it's sarcasm. Yeah, that was sarcasm. That's how I'm breaking the stereotype. Well, no, that's a tough one where if a guy looks like me helps a little old lady cross the street, that blows her fucking mind. You know what I mean? I've got, right next door here, I've got a 75, maybe even 70, close to 80-year-old Chinese lady. She's been my neighbor for the entire time I lived here. Fuck, dude, she'll come over. You need to help me figure out my satellite TV. And
that's how fucking neighbors should be, right?
Oh, man,
that's a nice feeling.
Yeah, but it'd be better if I understood her. And so I only understand, like, she has to say this shit like 6 times. So I'm like, okay, no problem. I go over there. I'm trying to figure out her TV. I don't have a satellite. I don't know how to figure it out. So she hands me the phone. I'm trying to figure it out. The lady's like, okay, you need to go in the back. You need to adjust her. I'm like, okay. So I'm asking her where the stuff is and her thing. And she's trying to get to me through really broken English. Like, I know she's lived here 40 some years, but English is not her first language, and it's not good. But we're friendly.
Well, fuck, Shawn grew up here his whole life. You heard him talk all day.
Fuck, right? Just kidding. So finally, I'm sitting for...
Bring you over just to attack you.
I'm sitting for a half hour, and I'm trying to help her fucking set up her satellite between, like, the Shaw lady and her, and I realize that the Shaw lady has an accent. And I'm like, hey, you wouldn't happen to speak a language other than English, would you? And she's like, yeah, I speak Mandarin. I'm like, Sue, do you speak Mandarin? She's like, yeah. And I'm like, here's the fucking phone. Because she was trying to get me to explain that she could go to Radio Shack and get a piece for $25, or it was going to be $125 if they come out. I can't even communicate with the lady. Yeah. Fuck, she thinks I'm the best neighbor ever. You know what I mean? She comes by, fix my furnace. I'm like, I can't fix your fucking furnace.
Hey, look at Pat. You're a white man. Yeah. You'll figure it out.
Fix my
You'll
lawnmower. Fix my furnace. I'm like, I'll do my best, which is usually me poking it with a stick and saying, call it expert. Call it expert.
Funny.
I tried, And she wants to have long conversations about, like, lawns and, like, planting and gardening, and I just kind of push my girlfriend in front of us. I'm like, you converse with Sue. I'm fucking off now because I can't have a conversation. But she's great, and she thinks I'm okay.
Sounds like you've had numerous. They've just been really one-sided.
Yeah. Great. Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, I figure that's
try to be the change you want to see.
Without sarcasm. Now, that's how to change people's perspective, because I'm the Harley riding, tattooed, fucking sometimes like lots of leather wearing, rough dude around the edges. But that little old lady next door thinks I'm the fucking best neighbor that she's had in a long time.
That's the guy that fixes my TV all the time for me.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, she fixed it herself after they got, like, through the social graces of, like, I gotta talk to you. It's like, no, actually, you don't. You guys can communicate fine between each other. I'm in the way of anything right now. I'm not facilitating shit.
She sent her brother over, who speaks a lot better English, to tell us that we needed to come have dim sum with them, and we still need to go have dim sum. And I think it's going to be... Yeah, it's going to be an awkward fucking explanation that I'm a vegan.
Pork buns.
and I don't speak Chinese.
It's all good.
I'm like, thank you. Smile with chopsticks. I can use chopsticks good, though.
Yeah, you'll be fine. You'll figure it out.
Yeah.
It's not a hate crime. They're not going to yell at you if you don't take chicken feet. You know what I mean?
Fuck you, racist!
I'll suck on a chicken foot, I'll tell you what, though.
Will you?
Well, will you? You know what? Okay, so again, I've been kind of a very shitty vegetarian for the last little while. I've been kind of just doing whatever the fuck I want. But my mentality in those situations is, if I feel like eating it, I'll eat it. You know what I mean? But I'm not going to go out of my way, especially like, because my thing when it kind of transitioned was like going to people's houses for like a turkey dinner. You know, it's Thanksgiving, people invite you over. Then and most of them, like, would know in advance I was a vegetarian. They would make an effort to have other options for me, And then in my mind, at the same time, I'm there. They've already cooked this turkey for everybody, and me not participating in it at this point doesn't stop this animal from being killed. They were going to do it regardless. They did it, and this thing was done as a thing of involvement for me. So if I want to have some and it looks like it's tasty and it's whatever, me not having it doesn't change a fucking thing. I'm gonna regret it physically. You know what I mean? Like my joints are gonna swell and I'm gonna feel sick from eating. Oh, that's
you get that reaction.
That's why I stopped eating meat to begin with. It was for my arthritis, because it fucked with it, right? So then that got much better, and then I kind of started hating myself more than I love animals for a bit, and then eating meat again, and so that's my mentality with that. Is if it's already in the world and exists, what good does my my philosophical stance on this make, other than maybe I'm just wasting some turkey at this point. They didn't stop it from going. They're going to do it. If I don't want to be part of it, that's fine. But at the same time, me being like, well, you know what? And this is the reason you guys shouldn't. Is like,
you
well,
know what?
They want to know, they'll find out.
My take on it is my silent non-participation.
Yeah.
I'll have the salad. I'll have the potatoes.
Sure.
I'll even cave on the stuffing. I don't even give a shit if it's been in the animal. But my silent non-participation is a political stance.
I totally agree.
It's a boycott.
See, and I think that's what a lot of people, like, why they have issues with people who are vegetarian or vegan or whatever, is because they feel like, they're like, well, they're going to attack me, and they're going to tell me what I'm doing is wrong, and they're going to this, and it's like, well, okay, maybe some people will, but some people will just show up, just participate, and go, it's just not for me. It's the same with drinking. You go to fucking somebody's house for beverages, everybo's having a drink, and you don't want one. I mean, they're dicks if they push it on you.
And if they want, that's when the conversation happens that they don't want to have. Right? And I'm doing my best to be cool, but if you want to have the conversation why I'm not supporting that thing, let's fucking do it. And they're like, you're an asshole. And I'm like, I thought you wanted to have the conversation.
What do you have, like tempura get-togethers or something?
Tempura get-togethers.
Fucking rice and almonds get-togethers.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Well, fucking, yeah, right? So, yeah, it's... If somebody asks, I'll explain. And actually, it was funny because somebody did that to me once. They're like, well, like, why do you? So I kind of explained my stance on it. And they're like, fuck. They're like, I've never heard somebody explain it so clearly in a way that I really didn't have an argument for, you know? Like, that you're doing it with those in mind, that you know that it's... What I personally do may not change the entire system, but that's the same as saying my vote doesn't count. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, do my little bit.
Well, I'm changing me.
That's
it. I'm not expecting anybody else
I'm
to
changing
change.
my participation in it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, when I'm, again, conscious of it and doing it and not feeling like a fucking
I don't sing Dr. Dre songs as loud anymore.
There you go.
No,
hey,
I'm changing
it in the right direction.
You know, change it to Ninja Neighbor.
Yeah, Ninja Neighbor. Yeah, absolutely. My ninja. Yeah, actually, you know, I was Run the Jewels was on my list of things to talk about because I don't listen to much hip hop, but I've really got into Run the Jewels lately. And I was like, today I was like, oh, fuck, I wonder who's in this group. Like, I kind of recognized the one guy, but I'm not sure. It turns out it's Killer Mike, and I'm like, oh fuck, okay, that's why I love this. And then again, like I said,
I only listen to white rappers that listen to Infowars. That's it. Vinny Paz or nothing. No, just joking.
Vinny Paz or nothing.
That's it. No,
that's funny. Yeah, no solid rapist, Vinny Paz.
No, go ahead, Killer Mike.
No, I don't know if you guys want to talk hip hop for a second
Necro
because I'm not really.
all these
Oh
years?
fuck! I love politically correct, conscious hip hop, like Necro.
Yeah.
Fuck. Anyways,
Where's Necro's take on this?
Yeah, exactly. But Charlemagne the God, I want to know what he wants to have to say about this too. He's always got a hot take on something that has nothing to do with what's going on.
but you're talking about Killer Mike's new project.
Yeah, Run the Jewel. Well, I don't know how new that is. I think they're 4 albums fucking deep now, but they're if you like really socially conscious, catchy as all fuck, hit you right in the balls kind of lyrics, plus excellent hooks, like deadly fucking like bass lines. Like, I don't know, man, I dig the shit out of them, and I'm not a huge hip hop fan.
That's
but
cool.
Run the Jewels connects with me hardcore.
Okay, let's talk hip hop for a second because I love this shit.
There you go.
I do. I love Vinny Paz. Vinny Paz is a gangster, but he's fucking socially conscious to a large degree. I like his shit. Psycho Realm, Slick Jackin, love their stuff. They're East LA Cholo guys that are like socially, well, they're street level socially conscious. But Immortal Technique, love Immortal Technique. Some Killer Mike stuff I like. Brother Ali though is one of my fucking favorite guys. He's albino, blind, Muslim, and he's talking about social justice issues in the States pretty.
You know what?
consistently.
Sorry, I've seen pictures of him and I've never put all that together before. I was just like, that's what that dude looks like. But now I'm like, oh yeah, albino Muslim. That's exactly what that gentleman is.
Yeah, and he basically he tosses his world is such a I don't know, juxtaposition, right? So he's like an albino,
fucking right?
He's really good at hip hop. He's in like the urban environments with a lot of like black artists, but he's like, hey man, I was raised by black people I respect, and I'm not going to pretend that these white people can claim me because this is my community and this is where I identify with a struggle to be free. Sure. And so I think, I love Brother Ali's stuff, and then there's the aspect that he's Muslim. Right, which automatically in the American political narrative right now puts him as a terrorist, as like a horrible individual. Yeah. When you listen to his lyrics, he's putting a different angle forward. Those are some of my favorite artists. Right
when
now.
you listen to any like R.A. the Rugged Man,
A little.
Okay, only reason I ask, is I had two very vivid dreams recently. One of them was this morning. I was dreaming about my brother, and I was crying in my dream, and I woke up crying, which was a very impressive way to start my day. And then the second one was, Ron Motrovich?
Yeah.
Okay, I had a dream that I was at a golf tournament for some fucking reason. I don't golf, but I'm at a golf tournament, and I get set up with my group is me, Ron Motrovich, and R.A. the Rugged Man. I have no connection with him, but I know Ron digs him, and I remember thinking like, fuck, this is gonna be a super fun round of golf. And then I never got any of the rest of that dream, so I'm a little disappointed in that. But shout out to Ron if he's paying attention.
I also like a lot of real fucking toxic gangster rap.
Sure.
I'm not gonna lie. Like that's it. Okay. Listening to the music off the streets, it doesn't matter if it's fucking blues or hip hop or punk rock or metal. You're listening to the people that are on the ground floor with nothing else, telling their stories. It's poetry of the streets, and if you don't want to listen to those lyrics, you don't have to. But when you do, listen to the run, the full gamut of what's being said. So people right now, they're like, yeah, NWA. Well, fuck, did you listen to what they're actually talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Or any of these.
The
bands.
shit everybody's protesting right now, they've been talking about for 35 fucking years.
Right?
At full volume, also, by the way. It wasn't like subtle. It was
This one post I saw, this guy says, well, you know what we're looking forward to? We're looking forward to martial law. We're looking forward to restriction of our mobility. We're looking forward to this. I'm like the black community hasn't been doing that for 60 years? That they haven't been like under martial law, restriction of mobility and fucking all this other stuff. Who are you? Where are you going? What have you been up to? Where are you at? Let's see your papers. Yeah. Oh, you want to talk back to me now? You're under arrest. You've got a resisting arrest charge. It's the fact that you can get charged for resisting arrest when the original charge doesn't exist.
Yep.
That's the most fucked up thing ever. Hey, how about this, cop? Fuck you. Leave me alone. Oh, really? He grabs a guy. The guy says, don't touch me. You just committed a crime. That's all it takes. And then this kid is in the jail system for however long because he fucking resisted arrest, and that's the only fucking crime. Then he goes to some racist judicial system where a judge is like, you know what? I'm going to teach you a lesson because you've been in trouble before, and fucking gives him 4 or 5 years for some bullshit charge. That kid is now institutionalized. He's tossed in a fucking box with a bunch of monsters, trained how to be a fucking monster, and then let loose on society again because of the punitive justice system.
That's even if he's let loose. Because while you're in there, you catch another case of some sort.
Some guy wants to fuck you, you fight him.
Yeah.
Right? You're not going to rape me. Like, you fight him, you accidentally kill him, boom, you got a murder charge in jail. You're never getting out. Like, that's some fucked up situations, man. Like, this whole system on punishment versus healing, on, controlling people versus feeding them, giving them education, giving them, like, fucking social programs. I don't get it, man.
Have you heard of Meek Mill's situation?
No.
Like, he was, like, he had, like, just, like, some probation charges. Like, it must have been, like, almost
so
like...
is Meek Mill the hip-hop artist?
Yeah.
Okay, yep.
It was, like, old, like, from when he was, like, just maybe, like, 19 or something. And the probation from this charge has just been following him his whole adult life. And then when he got famous, like, he can't, like, do, like, out-of-state performances, and it just hinders everything. And then he got, like, just from a probation violation of, like, not reporting where he was at a certain time, he ended up, the judge just wanted to make an example of him and threw him in jail.
Make an example.
Yeah, and he was in jail for well over a year, I think. And, like, when he came out, his album was dope. Like, there's a song, Oodles of Noodles Babies, and that song is just, like definitely, like, you can just hear the frustration of, like, what he went through in that song. It's, like, really eye-opening.
Well, man, like, that system, it's fucking ridiculous. And then, as a white guy, I've touched the edges. Luckily I never actually got busted and had to go do time, but I've been in the holding cells. I've been arrested. I've been handcuffed, tossed in the back of fucking cars. And I couldn't even imagine. Because if you get in there as, like, a regular dude, okay, I made a mistake, I gotta do some time, all of a sudden you're put in a position where you have to do shady shit to get by because the system is geared to fucking make you an animal. So you do whatever shady shit to keep yourself safe. You get written up, you get extra time added on, Next thing you know, you're meeting people that have been conditioned to this environment. Fuck, some kid who gets tossed in there, he comes out a man, what does he actually come out as, right? And then you put them in a community of people with no social structure, right? No community, no food, no access to education, no access to trauma programs or counseling. Oh man, it's just trauma on top of trauma on top of trauma. It's a survival mode. We talked about that. If you're always struggling to fucking get your basic needs met, how can you ever move to self-esteem and self-actualization, right?
Mm-hmm. I had this trippy moment at work the other week. This young guy, like he looked probably younger than 25, and he was like, came in, he had like fresh clothes on, and he just like, yeah, I've just never been in here. He's like, don't know what to get. He's like, I just got out of jail. I'm just like, oh,
Well,
really?
tell me what you do.
Oh yeah, I work at the weed store.
Oh really? It's
Yes.
legal.
Slanging
I just got out from
weed.
2 years doing this.
Now
I can
want to see what the other side looks like. This
Holy
is nice.
Yeah,
Air
like,
conditioned, eh?
apparently, like when the store first opened, like when I wasn't there, but like my one manager, she told me that she did a sale to this guy, and he just kind of stood there and he said something like, I did 25 years for this.
Yeah.
And then he just like was having a moment, and it was just like,
Yeah.
Fuck.
This guy got tossed in jail, and you're rich now from the same fucking thing. You know,
You're respected in the community yet for bringing jobs to the neighborhood.
I heard when this stuff was all starting to come in, the first word I heard about legalization came from an RCMP guy, or from word of an RCMP guy that wanted to invest in legal marijuana. Mm-hmm. Like, oh wow, politicians and RCs are this is going to be my secondary business because I know what's coming, and I'm going to invest in this thing when it becomes legal. You've been dragging people off the streets for being fucking criminals for how long? Saying this shit is a gateway drug, it's a problem, it's a health issue, it should be, it's immoral. You're putting them in fucking holes for this stuff, but now it's legal. You're going to profit off it. You're a fucking hypocrite. That bugs me. That really bugs me. I'm closer to the mic than you.
Because I get the argument that, like, well, I mean, that's the law. That's the law at the time. But at the same time, like, you fucking knew it was disproportionate and not necessary, and you're still going to benefit off it.
People that fucking equate legal with moral bother the shit out of me.
Right?
You know, like how many
It's not always
immoral
the same thing.
residential schools were fucking legal? The 60s scoop was legal. Was it moral? Fuck no. You know, there's the other argument that, like, trying to say the morality of 2020 applies to 1920 is a different thing. You know, like we've got a vantage point now where we know right from wrong is a different standard than then. But either way, like people that say that the looting or no, that the riots are illegal and they're criminals and should go to jail. Well, shit. There's a reason it's happening.
Revolutions happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, something that's very, I guess, controversial is the fact. Yeah, damn you, I'm talking.
You're looking right at me, and I can just see you being like, "Don't you fucking tell me you gotta piss again."
So do I.
But
Well, either way.
Well, let's make some time here. We'll share space.
Yeah. Crosswords. But where was I at? Oh yeah, in any revolution, you break eggs. Like, eggs get broken to make a fucking omelet. Like, people forget Che Guevara fucking assassinated people in trying to liberate Cuba. He wasn't, he literally marched them off, executed them on their fucking knees. He wasn't necessarily the glorious freedom fighter only fighting the good fight. Mm-hmm. So, either you're down with, like, a violent overthrow of the system, or you're down with a healthy healing attitude of the system. Like, there's this warrior archetype and a fucking healer archetype, and people are kind of like, they don't even imagine the two being together. You're one or the other, right? Yeah. And everybody's right now, they're like, rah, rah, war, rah, rah, warrior, let's burn this shit down. And then when they see somebody get their teeth knocked out, they're like, well, that's a bit far. Yeah. I think riots involve knocking people's teeth out. Yeah. Well, what do you think violence is?
I got a black eye and a bloody nose. I don't care for that.
Yeah, there's
a revolution, though.
Yeah, I want the acceptable limits of a revolution. Where
these are the acceptable targets. You're the powerful one in that dynamic. Oh, yeah. When you're the one that's part of the militia, of course you want a revolution. But as soon as your militia is outnumbered dramatically, and all of a sudden you realize your asthma's gonna kick in too hard while you're trying to run carrying this fucking thing and you can't do it. Well, I don't really want to do this anymore.
There's this video of these guys, and they're celebrating. They're like, woohoo! Finally, we're getting some recognition, and people are paying attention, and we're fucking free. They're like loaded on a car, you know, like a bunch of like brown and like, you know, black guys like just fucking going, and some fucking idiot white dude on a bike, he's like, fuck you, from the edge, and they're like, what? And this fucking car stops, and the guy's like, what? Come at me, bro. They did. Oh, fuck did they. He was like twisted up like a rubber bag full of mush. He just like chin checked, and like he was laid out. Yeah, dude, the tables are turning. Do you really want them to turn?
What's funny is that person, I don't know his background, but I would assume that that's the first time he's ever had fucking physical repercussions in the real world for his fucking words.
He's a MAGA guy that got off the internet.
Yeah.
Real life fucking happened,
all of a sudden, what I say matters out here. There can be physical repercussions. I don't want to do it anymore.
And I worry about
those fucking things then, right? Like, don't be shitty. Don't say shitty things.
Well, I worry about that with all these people that are sloganeering about like rah riot. Do you want that riot on your fucking doorstep? Or can we maybe talk about like a better way of dealing with this problem? I get it. You've had a flashpoint. Finally, you smacked back the system that fucked you up. Cool. Now let's dial it back and say, how do we heal from here? Now, there's people out there, and they're involved with my periphery on my social media accounts, both from the left and the right, and extreme left and extreme right, that are like, this is our chance. We're gonna,
a lot of opportunists fucking taking this as an opportunity.
Like these white extremist guys that I kind of check in on and I kind of follow. They're like, this is the chance for the boogaloo, man. We're gonna fucking pig off the cops.
Fuck's a boogaloo?
The boogaloo is the new.
Was I wrong to ask? I don't know why you laughed if you thought it was funny or you laughing at me. This asshole doesn't know about the boogaloo.
I saw like someone like try to explain what it was.
That was what you were laughing about. Okay, perfect. Yeah,
it was.
Fuck me then, right?
It's an online reference to basically, I think, for lack of a better word, a race war, right? Or
Jesus
right?
fucking Christ.
And it comes from what is it? Electric Boogaloo, the old hip hop movies. And And what was it? The second one was like the one that actually was better. I don't know the exact details, but it had to do with like the movies Electric Boogaloo. So these guys are like, well, this race war is going to take. So this is the sequel, Electric Boogaloo, right? And so these guys are
it's a lot of knowledge of black culture you have to still use it in a hateful, racist manner.
100%.
That's a lot of work you got to do delving in. I think you got a real love for that culture. You're gonna spend that much time doing it.
Well, am I right? Like, well, keep in mind that I don't want to get distracted. But the other side are these ultra left people, like these fucking ultra left, like hardcore Antifa, like black mask white kids that are like spray painting BLM on Starbucks. When you're not one of us, you're not part of this. You're fucking vandalizing.
Well, and those assholes, there's a lot of ways they could fix that system just from their position in it if they wanted to. That wasn't that. They could all fucking get into whatever Ivy League schools they're going to get into and become lawyers and judges that don't fucking abuse the system. They could do that.
Yes, but they don't want to. And these guys largely are communists that say that they're going to overthrow these capitalist structures and repurpose all of them
while benefiting off the structures.
Yeah, in the meantime. It's coming from a place of privilege, right? And it really kind of gets to me where these two extreme poles are using a legitimate opportunity to advance their own agenda. You know what I mean? And while the people that are actually wanting to have their voice heard, Shawn's on our podcast, are being overspoken, by people with opinions.
Sorry, if you guys wanted a quick example of white privilege and its actual fucking, this is it right here. We bring a gentleman onto our show, talk over him the whole time, let him have no opinion whatsoever, explain to him his own opinion.
No, this is how you feel about Indigenous rights.
Is that what we did? I fucking hope so. That's funny, though.
Okay, now I'm going to be you guys can chat.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
At the weed store this one day, right when we never shut down during the whole thing. There were just times where we just had like big restrictions, like only 2 people in the store, 2 customers in the store, and everyone had to stay apart. And
it's already a very sterile environment to begin with, right? Like,
and then like we had like these computers that people used to be able to touch to make their order, but now we have to do it for them. And this old guy came in, and at first he starts touching the computer. I'm like, oh, sorry, we're not using that. I'll take your order for you. And he's like, okay. I'm like, we got everything on these menus, and he just grabs it. And I'm like, oh, sorry, we can't touch the menus right now. And he's like, you know what? It's tyranny. You know what it is?
Oh my fucking Christ, eh?
Yeah,
and he pushes his asymmetrical off to the side, eh? No, it's Karen, it's not... No,
and he just like...
That's unreal.
This is tyranny,
right? I can't touch the menu in the legal weed store.
Yeah, and then he's just he's like, you know what? It starts out with all these little things, and then they start taking bigger things away, and he just like looks me dead in the eye, and he's like, and you need to watch out for that. And it's just like... can we get you some like strong stuff or what?
You should have made him explain why you personally needed to watch out for that.
Yeah.
Why me?
As an Indigenous person, you've never experienced that. So you need to understand that tyranny can happen, and they're going to take away your freedoms if you're not careful.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't touch everything. This is outrageous.
I hate my freedoms being taken away.
Yeah.
That's what I see a lot of, like the Karen. You know what I mean? I find it racist. Do you?
No, because you think you can say that. That's the reason you say that. You know what I mean? Like, you don't really do it. You just want to be able to have the fucking venue to say that.
I understand the abstract. I understand the abstract of racism, so I can say that you're being racist against me instead of me just being accountable.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Jesus. Anyways, what's on my list here? I'm pretty much out. Chads versus virgins.
Oh, I see what you're talking about. Chads versus incels.
Yeah, well, is it? Or I thought incels just talked about the difference between a Chad and a virgin, like the alpha male versus the inept kind of.
No, that's an incel, absolutely. Involuntary celibate.
Yeah.
No, that's I'd say those are the two categories.
That's them. That's all they see.
They exactly. Yeah, they come from a very similar. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the concepts of Chads and incels. You I think you tried to explain a Chad to us earlier, and I thought you meant a tiny person who rides a horse. But absolutely. With the difference between the two, I think you hit the nail on the head earlier. Is one gets laid and one doesn't. That's basically it.
See, when I was growing up, like socially inept people that couldn't find a girlfriend because maybe they watched too much porn and thought that was the only purpose of a woman was to have sex with them, we just called them losers. You know what I mean? And now they call themselves involuntary celibate.
Yeah. So it's not my choice that I'm celibate. If it was up to me, I'd be breeding.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm involuntarily celibate.
And fair enough. If it was up to you, you would be. No one else wants you to.
Yeah.
No one else wants to participate in that because you kind of fucking suck.
Well, and there's the element that is all that a relationship is to you about sex? I can't get laid. I'm celibate.
That's why they
voluntarily.
That's why they fail. That's why they're deficient, right? Because they don't get that.
So, and I find that really weird. But if you're the opposite, you've worked on the social skills, you can talk to a human being, and sometimes that leads to having a relationship, which leads to sex. Oh, fuck, you're a Chad.
Well, see, no. See, I think the Chads haven't even worked on that much. They're just they were born over 6 feet tall. They naturally have a strong jaw. They were gifted athletically, so they always kind of got to play whatever the team was. Maybe their parents had a little money. You know what I mean? So they got a car. So it's they got the look. They still have they still have the same fucking mentality as an incel. It's just they don't have the neck beard and the Volkswagen. They've got a Camaro and a fucking leather jacket. You know what I mean? It's still the same thing. You're still me. I still own you, but I can own you because I have a car and my dad works as a lawyer.
I find it very interesting, though, that the incel community, it's a binary. You're an either or. The nuance all between there has been erased. You know, where, hey, guy, you can get a haircut and work on fucking social skills, and you might actually meet another shut-in nerd of the opposite gender that you can procreate with maybe someday. You know?
Well, and I honestly do believe that a lot of it is people who are closeted too, that are in these worlds where it's not accepted to do that, so they have to get on this board. No, I fucking hate women and they treat me shitty, and it's like, yeah, but you kind of hate yourself because you haven't admitted what you are also. Like, there's a reason that you're this fucking virulent towards this other group.
Yeah, and you taking it out on the other.
Yep.
The other.
Yeah.
Whether it's women or people that aren't like you.
Yeah. Whatever it is, you're not comfortable with what you're doing sexually, so you have to fucking make it some sort of social or political issue. And it's like, no. You just need to be a human being.
Yeah.
Go out and do some fucking shit that's interesting and people want to talk to and know what you're about.
That's a big one, man. Like,
I don't basements being trolls. Who wants to fuck that?
Right?
You know what I mean? Like,
what are we doing?
Look what we're talking about here. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, no, that's right. I forgot how
we're hanging out in
accurate that is. This is a basement. We are halfway to being a troll. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But that's every single little group, because I tattoo for a living, every single subculture I got involved in or hobby that I got involved in, whether I liked it or not, because I did find it frustrating, expanded my social circle. You know what I mean? I join a kung fu class. Hey, there's 3 or 4 people that are chatting me up about my tattoos. Hey, do you do tattoos? Oh, I know the tattoo guy. I join any organization, and they're like, oh, you're the tattoo guy or whatever it is. If you join a hobby or you develop a community, you meet people. You don't have to be stuck in your basement fucking being, I don't know, a lifeless individual. It's like, oh man, life's just passing me by. No, you're letting life pass you by. And that one fucking gets me.
Yeah.
That's why I think it's so cool that you decided to do an open mic and fucking, I could never get in front of a room full of people and just start, blah.
That's all I
Well,
want.
then like after doing it, that was just like my like outlet, like every week was like something to just get out of.
You kind of crave
myself.
it, yeah?
Yeah.
So you can get this guy a gig?
What do you mean?
Yeah, I want to get into stand-up so fucking
Oh, yeah,
bad,
you
man.
can-
It's
you
all
just
I can think about lately. I'm like, I've been writing jokes.
Come to open mics
I gotta
and give
do
it a
it.
shot.
See, and I didn't have this epiphany until like the pandy was having, and I'm like, I like know where I can physically go.
The pandy.
Yeah. The
Oh
pandy.
man,
You
it's
like
been
that?
I like that.
during this I've
I like pandies.
I've done like some
What a moist pandy.
it's like during this I've done some Zoom open mics.
Oh,
and
yeah.
they've just been like, it's just sad.
Well,
But
we
it's like-
did a little Zoom show with the band the other
Yeah.
couple weeks ago, and it was fun. But it's still like you have to picture people enjoying it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, you gotta make
It's like masturbation.
You guys,
I just picture
maybe that's why I
somebody
enjoyed
else
it so
enjoying
much. Actually, now that you mention it, we should do this
Especially
all the
like-
time. That's what I said afterwards. Let's get rid of the crowd. Actually, let's turn the lights off. All lose our clothes. And wait, what?
Especially like everyone else tries to like all the other comedians, they like mute their mics, so even if they do laugh, you can't even hear them.
I'm trying to be considerate.
Yeah.
No, I need that human contact, you pieces of shit.
Yeah.
Oh, without feedback, that would
I feel like I'm
suck.
doing this in a
like
well.
some of them, like they'll leave their mics on, but like
Oh.
yeah.
I feel like that would get dark for me. Like,
I know,
I start
that-
laughing.
I
I'd
know.
be like, no one can
I
hear it.
think
I'm like, well, we're going
yeah.
inside then, but
You can
there's nothing
definitely-
on the outside to connect
you can
with.
definitely see like some comedians, like some of my friends, like they'll start doing their set and then their punchline hits and they're just like. Just
But
like
it's
you
just
can
them
just
by
see it
themselves.
like sink out of them, like oh
Yeah.
this is how it is. Like
That's weird. That's got to be a weird experience. But you know what? I think great, because when this all goes back to like, whatever fucking normal's gonna look like after we're all done, you've been through the trenches. You know what I mean?
like
When
we
you're out
didn't
there
miss this.
doing
We're
the
not missing
Zoom
any
fucking stand up.
steps, kinda.
Yeah, that's awesome.
What would have been your best gigs? Who do you think the like venues or crowds? Where do you think you resonate the most?
Well, like I had like this awesome gig where they like flew me out to Winnipeg one time, and that was like in front of like between 200 and 300 people.
Nice.
And yeah, that was awesome.
Was it an event or?
Yeah, it was like it was a comedy night, and they do it like once a year. They usually bring one person from out of town, and then it's like Winnipeg comedians, and yeah, they put me on the show that year, and yeah, it was really awesome. Like just like performing in like a theater setting, and there was like this one girl like started yelling, "Who hurt you?" during my set, because I just like all my stuff like just like about like bad exes and shit like that.
I'm telling you right now, but you're not hearing me. I'd be the worst with hecklers. I'd just be like, your mom, like, fuck you. What are you doing here? You're ruining my world. Like,
Yeah.
I'd be so bad with hecklers. I don't know.
I see, again, I feel like I would love that.
I think you'd be
I
good
feel like
at
I would
hecklers.
love someone to attack
Sometimes-
me. Please come after me, bro. I have so much. I don't know who you are. I'm gonna dismantle you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back generations on how fucked you are, and you're gonna be like, well, stop fucking hitting on my goddamn nerves already. You're gonna start crying partway through, not because you're sad, but it's like, why didn't somebody tell me this earlier? I know that's the kind of piece of shit I am.
What were you going to say, Shawn?
Well, there's like there's this one show I did in this small town of like Hafford, and when we got there, like it was just like a small fundraiser. Like these small towns just have fundraisers and they get together and they'll book a comedian. And like we go there and it was just like everyone was just wined out, and it was like just a big party. And then it was like one of the best shows that I performed at. Like I remember like getting like the hairs of my neck stand up from like how loud the laugh was at some parts. But there was like I think it was like the mayor's wife or something.
There we go.
Something
That's
like
the beginning
that.
of a great joke.
Yeah, she was
Mayor's
like-
wife comes over.
when we first got there, she was just like super loaded, and she was like, "Make fun of me up there," you know. and then all of a sudden, like when I got to my set, I have like this joke about binge watching and Netflix, and it was like an hour later, and she was in front, but she passed out. And so she's passed out, and then I'm just like, in my joke, it's like, there's like this part, it's like, binge watching nowadays is too easy because you just have the screen staring at you saying, "Are you still there?" And like, she was just right there, and I just was like, "Are you still there?" You know? And then like, the crowd just loved it, and like, everyone was like, "Yeah!" And then like,
Yeah, fuck that bitch! Yeah!
and then she woke up, and she was just like, ugh. And then
I didn't want it like
yeah,
this.
and then she was like, I'm trying to like do my bit, and she's like, "You're lazy. It's 'cause you're lazy." I'm just like, what
I don't know. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know if you caught it, she was being racist right then. That's a racist thing to say. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, all comedians are lazy. You know how all comedians are lazy, right? They're all on welfare, all comedians. Bitch, I know what you're fucking saying right now. I know what comedian means.
Yeah.
See, and that's just it. You're good at that. I'd be like, have another fucking nap, bitch. Like, that's just it. I'm lazy. I'm gonna get down there.
You take it personally. I'll show you lazy. I'll show you lazy. In front of her, hey?
Yeah, exactly.
If you see my credentials, would a lazy man do this? You know what? The show's the fuck over. You and me, let's go here. We're gonna have a talk. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not
That'd be
good
fun
with
too,
hecklers.
though,
I'm
right?
not good with hecklers.
Yeah, well, I had a like fight or flight moment at the Copper Mug. It was like, I was like starting the show, and oh man, it was so awkward because like I was starting the show, and all of a sudden I just like because I have the lights in, like the lights are kind of like blinding me, but I see like this silhouette of this guy like coming up, and he's walking towards me, and then he kind of stops, and he's like he's like mocking me, like pretending to laugh, and he's mocking me, and I'm just kind of like, I try to like tell my jokes, and then he kind of like comes walking up towards me, and then I'm just like, okay, what's your problem, buddy? You want to be the star of the show? And then I just shoved him.
Little physical comedy, yeah, or violence,
like,
whatever. Yeah.
It was just like, because the way he looked, I thought he was gonna like approach me, and I was just like, "You want to be the star of the show?" And I just said to him,
You wanna fucking go?
and then everyone was just like, "Whoa!" And I'm just like super like I couldn't even.
Creeping up on me. Like, what the fuck more do you want me to say?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
He's sitting down, no one can touch you.
and then I just like, I barely like, I couldn't even like finish my set, and I just like, okay, let's get this show going. And then like this poor girl came up who was like just starting, and it was like maybe one of her like third or fourth times, and she did good. She stood up there, but you could tell she was super nervous after what just happened.
She didn't want to be physically
And then
assaulted
she
again.
didn't come to the next open mic.
That was it, eh?
Yeah, it was just
Strangers wandering on stage.
but it was just like this bad, like, I don't know, it just caught me. Like, I thought he was gonna come at me, so I just was like, fuck off.
Wow. If he's close enough to touch, he's too fucking close.
Yeah, and then,
Okay,
yeah.
That's the
you
story
doing?
of my life, really.
Hey, if you're close enough to touch, you're too goddamn close.
Sometimes
You want to
when
be in
we
my
touch.
world. Yeah.
But then, like, that,
Oh,
the
Steve,
rest of the open mic was so awkward, too, because I was sitting
how
at
couldn't it be?
the
It started
front,
with an assault. How couldn't it be?
and like,
The family area was pretty good. We had one rape at the beginning, but other than that, it went really smoothly.
and then my one buddy who co-hosts it with me, he texts me, he's like at the back of the room, he's like, I could take over if you want, and I was just like, I'm gonna sit this one out. No, I was like, I'm gonna stick this one out, and like I hosted the whole show, but it was just like,
You know, yeah.
Had a boy. It's weird. I think if you're a comedian though, like the more weird you get into life, you should lean into. You know what I mean? Like I had a friend of mine the other day send me a thing on Snap. She's doing some sort of photography class, and she's like, "Hey, my photography teacher is doing this thing for Burning Man, and she needs like a female and a male subject to like do like an ass shot." And she's like, "Are you in?" And first off, I'm like, I don't know if you know who you sent this to, but yes, I'm absolutely in. I hope this is a mistake. And then she's like, "No, I knew it was you. I figured you'd be one of the few people I knew who'd be down." And I'm like, and she made a point of saying that there's no hole in the picture, but I'm like, look, I'll go full hole if that's like, if I'm really there for the art of it,
at it.
I'll go full hole.
At it, into it.
Yeah, I think lean into it,
Be
right?
one
Anytime
with
you
it.
get that fucking
The whole.
Yeah. Right? Somebody's like, "Here, hang on to this for a second." You're like, "I guess there might be a joke in this. Yeah, I'll hold on to it for a second."
Did you end up doing it?
I haven't done it yet. I have to do it sometime the next week.
So you're gonna be a male model, a male ass model.
I mean,
that's great.
We'll see. We'll
So
see.
many levels.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what the angle is. It might be just ass model. It might not be male ass model. There might not be enough to tell. Like, what is that? Are those balls? I've seen smaller, but
really, I've done modeling. What kind?
Yeah.
Well, you know, some people are hand models.
A lot of mostly rectal.
Before this whole pandemic started, I was about to like have audition for a indie movie in Saskatoon. Did they I applied for to be like a production assistant, and then they just were like, we looked you up and we think you got the right look for this part.
Nice.
And they were like, would you want
Inmate number one or
no? It's like, and then they showed me like the
That guy.
script. It's like. I think it's like a native guy who's talking about stabbing white people. So.
That's gonna be you?
Yeah.
They're gonna make you bust out an accent or what?
Well, I always got more of a cuddle vibe from you than a stab. Native guy likes to cuddle white people. Shawn's our man.
Yeah.
That's what I want. Yeah.
It's like all these New York hardcore
Spoon
guys
guy.
that like end up with extras in the series Oz, like the guys
sure.
from Biohazard and Cro-Mags.
You look like a bunch of
I was the guy who's like,
rapists.
yo, you know, like the Aryan Brotherhood dudes.
Finally,
Right?
this pays off.
Yeah.
I'm always hassled in grocery stores, but finally, looking like a skinhead rapist is paying off.
Well, you know, that's a kind of the thing. I guess comedy is a segue into, you know, like performance, but then so it really again.
You know what? I'm trying to be discreet.
I think my
and not make
daughter has a
fucking
bigger
scene.
bladder than you, and she's a 13-year-old girl.
Never mind. I'm not going to say whatever.
Yeah. Anyways,
I was gonna say I think I'm gonna have to cruise to work.
oh yeah, you got
Yeah.
life to live. Okay,
Yeah.
well, thanks for coming out. Wait till Dusty's done peeing again, and we will come on back. But that's the kind of thing I thought about, maybe going out to Vancouver and, you know, kind of like searching around. I got a lot of crazy life stories, and like, hey, you know, I got these stories, blah blah blah. But a guy like me would only really be cast as like that extra on the biker bar, the extra in the jail yard, the extra. You're never gonna go anywhere with it. But I think that's the thing. Like getting into comedy and performance, it's a segue into a whole bunch of other, you know, opportunities. You know.
Yeah, well, like with me and my two comedy brothers, Danny Knight and Ryan Moccasin, we started The Feather. I don't know if you've seen it on Facebook.
I've seen some of those clips.
The Feather, is it like a skit thing?
We do like kind of like monologues, kind of like the Daily Show style, like with Indigenous content.
Oh, they're both Indigenous guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we did that. We got funded by the Sask Arts Board.
Cool.
Like we first were just doing it on our own time, and then we used those as like our resume to apply for a grant, and then we got that, and we made like a season, and like I was like producer and like co-writer, but then like on it when we did the season, I like made a character for myself and threw myself in a couple of the skits, and it was pretty fun. Like it was just like we just actually got approved for this year to get the grant again. So yeah.
That's very good. That's one thing I like about Canada is there is some support for like the arts, especially if you're helping a community, right?
Well, the CBC is as big as it gets. It's a national broadcasting network, and I feel like they really do make an effort to like build grassroots level arts. Like that is a venue you can figure out if you're doing some sort of art. You can figure out how to get on CBC, and that's pretty goddamn cool.
Well, Shawn's got to get going to work soon.
Yeah, I guess it's gonna be that time.
All right.
Okay. So we didn't really do any segments. I had a whole list of them here, but maybe that's for the next
We
time.
talked about putting on gigs. That's his.
There you go.
Yeah. In case you missed our "We're not experts, but you can do it anyways" thing.
Yeah.
Go back to the beginning of this podcast, and that's how to put on a
gigs.
show. All right.
Okay. Well, yeah. If we're gonna wrap this up, then was there anything that you wanted to make sure, like anybody who might be listening knows about what you're doing?
How to find you online? Or
yeah,
anything?
man.
Yeah, well, like we're looking to book like these fire pit funny comedy shows, like where you can book either $100 show or $200 show. The $200 one you would get pro comedians, and then the $100 one is more like an open mic.
They got a 51 for shitty.
Well, that would be the $100 one. The $100 one is like the open mic, like
Whatever
your cousin that had
whatever
too many?
loose cans you have in the yard, we've got a guy that's gonna roll up on a bike with garbage bags. Yeah, he's got some jokes.
But yeah, like right now, like just to keep in with like the guidelines, like we're doing like gatherings of 9 people, and one comedian comes into the yard at a time, and we do the show that way. Or then next week we're looking at doing it up to 30 people gatherings. And
So if somebody wants to find you online, like, cause like we got people listening from like across Canada, sometimes over the border. If somebody wants to find you,
yeah, my Instagram is at Bloody Cuthand, and then just on Facebook is my name, Shawn Cuthand, or you can find The Feather. Is
that a page or a group?
Yeah,
or
we have a Facebook page for The Feather.
The Feather, that's easy to remember. All right, well, thanks for coming out. Hopefully,
Yeah, man, this is delightful.
Yeah, for sure. I'd like to do it again.
Yeah, for sure.
Keep me a regular.
Yeah, just a commentator.
I think we can only have irregulars.
Irregulars.
You don't have irregulars, but irregulars.
I'm glad that we you got some words in edgewise between you two.
Jesus fucking Christ. I mean, I haven't watched it yet, and I've already got so many notes for myself.
Yeah, like, note to self.
Jesus Christ.
Well, you know, that's just it. You're kind of a quieter guy. We have guys planned coming up that are. Let me tell you guys something. You know, just wait. It's gonna be entertaining. But thanks for coming.
Yeah, definitely. For sure.
Beauty, Shawn. And
Thanks
again, for us.
Thanks for thinking of me.
Oh, fuck.
Well, fuck. All the time, honestly. Is that weird?
I think.
I mean, it's
I
shower
just
time
made it
mostly,
weird.
but it's at least once a day.
It's not if you don't make it.
And us, Facebook, Vimeo, fucking. If I get my shit together, we're gonna have some stuff up on YouTube.
Yeah, we're
too,
really
some little
hoping
clips.
to have some audio up for you someday. You know, and,
just audio. Yeah, I keep paying for it, and I still haven't done it yet. So we'll get there. But yeah, keep paying attention. Instagram, wherever the fuck else you can find good stories. Bad
ideas. No,
bad
bad ideas, good stories. Big
stories.
There's
Jesus
a Vimeo app. I
Christ.
actually watched it on my TV.
On the app? That's cool.
On
Yeah.
Roku. Yeah,
On your
yeah,
TV.
Vimeo app.
I don't know if I care for that, honestly. I was hoping I'd be small screen for a while.
Yeah, keep us at distance. Well, people have been giving us good feedback.
I feel
about
bad
it.
that most of my emotional flaws are going to be on display. I don't need my physical flaws on display as well. What do I got left? Spiritual flaws?
Yeah, it's psychological flaws.
All right.
All right, well, thank you guys. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank
peace
you.
out, homies.
I love you.
I love you guys. Oh, and Russ.